stream. It should be going to YouTube and Facebook. So I just have it going to Facebook. I don't know. I stopped using Twitch because I don't know. They're always changing their rules all the time, and you just never know. Like if you're gonna have some ninjas sent after you or something. You just don't know.
It's a Wild West out there.
Yeah. Yep. 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 So here we go. I guess we can just get started. We'll just play the first track. Because I mean, it's just. So I don't know if I've ever told you guys about that first track. But oh, there we go. We got Proto Buster. Wait, yeah, we knew you were coming through. Yeah, right on time. DJ Proto in the mix.
Man's been more excited for the album than we were.
Oh man. No,
Stream
yeah.
so I can see the chat.
Yeah. You probably want to put it up on another window or something. But yeah, the present steps. So I have a confession to make for that track. The main sample that's like underneath everything else came from me fooling around with the what was it, the what is that thing called, the Splice, like AI stacks thing.
Oh, that's all Murph. I don't know anything about that.
Oh,
I think so, yeah.
yeah. So I was playing around with it, and it came up with something, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of cool, I was like, it kind of reminded me of Nujabes, and I was like, let me like strip everything out, drums, everything, take just that bass sample, and then I went and took that, I stretched it, and then put a bunch of stuff over the top of it, and that's where we came up with the present steps. Yeah, it's kind of a fun little thing.
That came out great.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that track. As a matter of fact, it grows on me. It's one of those where it's like every time I hear it, I'm like, man, it sounds better than last time, But yeah, Jesse King, what's going on, man? So what's good? Oh wow, we got 7. That's all right. Got a good little group here. But yeah, we can start with that first track. We'll just listen to it and then get to backing around again. Then I guess me and Murph will have a little story for that, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and play that first track. Okay. Yeah, so DN3, good to have you. Definitely an honor. All right. Man, we got quite the group, huh?
Just like last time when we did a live stream for Modal Fidelity Volume 1.
Oh
You're
yeah.
tuned into Mo5 Radio with your host, Last Benevolence on the Rocks. This time, special. Got Murphy's music
Yep. Yep.
In the house, in the flesh.
in the house. Murphy's, what'd you think about the intro track?
I loved it. I think it came out great. It's a very classic Benevolence feel to me.
Yeah.
Great way to sum it up right there. It is benevolence.
Yep. Yep. So I was always curious. I don't know, I'm always curious about this, but even though comparisons can be the thief of joy, you know, which intro track do you guys prefer between the two? Modal Fidelity 1, we had the adult flight, and then we had the present steps in this one. Which one would you say you preferred?
Dominique, what's good? Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah, Dom, what's going on?
I prefer this one. I prefer the present steps.
The present steps, yeah. I'm gonna have to agree.
It's tough because you gotta like you got that overall feel for Modal Fidelity, which was, you know, you had all of the steps, you know what I mean? Like it was all set up to be, all right, the flight's taking off, you're at the airport, yada yada, the in-flight music and the in-flight vibe. And Modal Fidelity 2 kind of draws back and pulls back from that. It's like, all right, you've landed. All right, now you're going on about your day, you know, like wherever it may have been where you landed at. So it's two very different vibes. For this album, I don't think an intro like Adult Flight would have worked for this one.
I agree. Yeah.
So I feel like it was perfectly placed. They both work very well with where they are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Get behind all that.
As unobjectively unbiased as possible.
yeah. No, absolutely. You know, it's funny. And I'm just gonna say this for the chat because you're in for a ride here because in my opinion, Modal Fidelity Volume 2 is at least a step, if not 2 or 3 steps above the first one. I feel like we just came, I mean, even the lyricism, the production, everything, I think it was, the mastering even, was just another level. I love Modal Fidelity, the first one. Matter of fact, it's one of my favorite albums of anything that I've done. I guess, you know, anything we've done. But I remember when we came out with that, it was like this huge achievement. Like, it was amazing. But I feel like we've done something that's just, you know, untouchable.
I mean, it's crazy because, you know, before we hop into Backing Around Again too, because I mean, obviously that's a whole story in and of itself. But it might be hard for people to understand that, yeah, we've known each other collectively for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
I mean, LB and I go back almost 2 decades. You know, Murph and I, we're brothers. So, you know, we got 2 decades plus between us. So, you know, but project-wise, this is only our second full feature-length project together as a whole group. But we mesh so well together. We know how to play off of each other. So it's really great. I mean, it really comes through on first album. It comes even through on the second album better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody take that while you're listening to each track with us. It's only our second group album together. It's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we have this this synergy, this
chemistry.
Chemistry.
This is natural.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. DN3, hard hitting drums, breezy chords, never gets old. You guys know DN3, right? You guys.
I think I know vaguely.
Yeah.
DN3. I think I've seen the name around a little bit.
Yeah. So he's like the, I want to say the first producer for Mega Ran.
Okay.
Yeah. DN3, you'll have to correct me on that one. If you're his oldest DJ, you know, like,
Like spinning on the ones and twos on stage type vibe, like going out on tour, or
Yeah, you saw DN3 at that. Remember?
at the
Yeah.
museum.
That was
Okay.
that was DN3 on the stage there. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely an honor to have that recognition. You know, it's just cool.
We met from a distance. I don't think we ever, with everything that went on after the show, we never really got a chance to chop it up. But
Yeah.
no, for sure, I was there. DN3, we saw each other. There was a moment, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure you could sense each other's power level. You know?
And the aura farming that was going on, as the kids would say, was just immense.
Right.
Immaculate.
Yeah. All right, cool. So the track Backing Around Again, part 2. So, I don't know if anyone from the chat remembers Backing Around Again, part 1. Probably. I know Dom probably remembers Proto Buster. You probably remember that. Backing Around Again, part 1 was on, it was just Backing Around Again originally. And that was on Color Cups. And
That's my favorite album.
Ran in 04, yeah, DN3 going way back.
Yeah, I'll take oldest DJ, laugh out loud. I started working with Rand in 2004. Salute to y'all. Yeah. I didn't mean oldest like you're old, DN3. I meant like, you know, you're the first DJ that worked with him that I know of. You know, like that's 2004. You know, yeah. All right, we'll see you if you're heading off. Hey, yeah, I did, still do, yeah. Backing Around Again. So that was kind of that was a track between me and On the Rocks. When we did that, it was about the memories that we shared when we would go back and forth, you know, doing ciphers in high school. And I mean that track is still near and dear to me. Like that was
our first time messing around with recording together.
Mm-hmm.
Up until that point, we had always recorded separate. I'd gone over to LB's place. We were sitting there recording. That's why that one's got some outtakes in it. It's got some funny stuff that you may not have gotten on any other time. You know, the ending of that whole track right there was just a hilarious trying to beatbox, you know, to the sound of the track, but then doing something else. It was great. Fond memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drank a lot of OJ that day, if I remember. Orange.
Yeah, probably too much. Yeah, we couldn't even pull that off now. We just pass out or something like, oh man.
Yeah, Sugar Rush put me down.
Yeah. Dom, it gave me that WW feel from back in the day. I'm guessing that means Westwood. Yep. Well, that's what it was about. So
not on those 115 degree, you know, September, August days, standing out there in that little dirt patch next to the Hall 4. But, you know, we made it work. Student store living, you know what I'm saying?
Man, I don't even remember the hall numbers, man. That's crazy.
But you got to remember, I went back there not that long ago.
Well,
I mean, shoot, it's been a while now. It's been 5 years. Wow. But I was just there doing teaching.
That's right. That's
5 years back.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You used to spit bars there, and then you started teaching about bars.
Spit bars, and then I locked those kids down. You can't rap here. This is my spot. You know?
Right. Yeah. Oh man, Friends. How many of us have them? Yep, I know that song. Yep.
It's great.
Yeah. So anyway, there. How about I'll have Murph take over for the first part of this story, for Backing Around Again, part 2. Murph, what inspired us? What inspired you, actually? You were the first one to write that track.
You know, I had just gotten back into writing stuff and writing rhymes and kind of trying to put songs together and whatnot, and it just it didn't feel right without my brother being there, without On the Rocks there, you know. So it was kind of like a call, and I was waiting for a response, you know. Like you're working a crowd.
Yeah, because I remember, and On the Rocks, what's interesting about this album, you actually going through all the lyrics and everything, you kind of deep dive into what happened there. You know, like you talk about, you know, the break you took from, you know, rhyming and all that stuff, and you know, like all of it. It's all in there. It's all in the whole album. I don't know. I'm sure you listen to it over and over again. And you're like, okay, you know, that's the whole story's there. But a lot of these tracks have connections now. Like they have like there's almost a continuity there that's just unspoken. But with that being said, though, that was what it was. If I remember it correctly, on the Rocks, you were pretty much hanging up the mic.
I did for a while there. I had when I did my name change from Impermanence, which a lot of people probably remember me as. Dom might be the only one in the chat that actually remembers going by anything else. Once upon a time, my first rap name was White Chocolate. You know, shout out to the Westwood crew that dubbed me that in the basketball courts.
White Chocolate.
You know, MCCIA was around the way too.
Cotton Action.
A lot of throwbacks to, you know, my names showed up on the first album, Modal Fidelity, with the On the Rocks experiment. You know, I kind of called out all of those. MC Timmy T, all of those, you know what I mean? But Impermanence was the one that stuck around the longest. But with wanting to move forward and grow and be a different artist with my age and where I was at the time, I was like, all right, let me shed Impermanence. It's time. You know, move on. So that's when I changed and I dubbed myself, you know, MC On the Rocks, where Rocks stands for Roxborough. Where when you get these lyrics and everything from me, you get where I'm from. You know, I'm putting that on the rock. It's on Roxborough. So when I stepped out and I did my own solo venture, and this is without LB, I was trying to go out and do my own thing, found some producers that I was trying to work with, whether with people through YouTube or if it was somebody that was from back around the way where I'm from that did a lot of music with the cats that I looked up to, listened to, and were inspired by. You know, I went out, I was buying beats, I was putting money into it, I had a website developed, I had all this crazy stuff, and I had all these plans and ideals and ambitions. And it failed. Absolutely bombed. It was miserable. It was a terrible, terrible moment of my life. So all that money went away, and I was just fed up. I was tired. I was like, you know what? I'm done. Moved on. Hadn't really done music for a while. But coincidentally enough, that's when Murph was getting a lot back more into writing. He's sending me bars all the time, bouncing ideas off of me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's really great. That's dope. That's dope. Maybe work on this, you know. I changed up the delivery here. Give yourself a little bit more time to breathe. Work on this. And it's making me itch. You know, I'm getting that feeling in my hand. Like, let me pick up a pen again. And then I'm like, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. Then flash forward a little while, then LB's coming back around and I got the stuff, man, you know. Just, you know, what's going on? Long story short. Longer story shorter. We here we are. 2 albums deep. And a lot of that came from just Murph. Just, I don't want to say stockpiling me with bars, but
this was the spark, you know.
Yeah, backing around again. Then you know, just Murph really deep diving into it and saying, "Hey man, wake up! What are you doing? Wake up! What are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah. You know what's funny about that too? In a way, Murph kind of started the group.
He really did.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, there wouldn't be a MoFi Collective, MoFi Co. Without Murph.
Yeah,
it really wouldn't be.
Even though, I mean, originally, I remember the original version of the MoFi Collective, the first album, Modal Fidelity. There was actually a version of it without Murphles in it. I think he had one track. He was on one of the tracks.
Yeah, it was a guest spot. Yeah.
Yeah. But then we were like, let's just have him in it, you know. And we're like, you know, so we ended up including him in it. I mean, now.
Yeah, we've reworked like half of that album.
Yeah.
On the spot.
I don't want to say a lot of cut content, but there was a lot of space that was made.
Yeah.
You know, extended instrumentals, whatever it might be.
Yeah. I don't remember cut content. That I don't remember. I remember adding stuff. I remember
there was a lot of beat extensions, and then what was originally supposed to be a 10 track, 12 track EP.
Yeah.
You know, it ended up being the almost 22 plus album that it came out to. And a lot of that's because
we wanted
made that rule.
to give everybody kind of like their spotlight.
Yeah.
Everybody got their own solo track, and then everybody's got one with one another, and then there's a few with all three of us, I think, or just one.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. No, that's right. We had we at least had a couple tracks with all three of us on it. At least two of them.
There was a formula we were trying to follow.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to keep that integrity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, it was a bang up job. I thought it was great. So
I think it came out real good too.
Yeah. So I still go back to the album and listen to that because it's still good. I mean, you know, all our older stuff. There's some bangers from Murph that nobody has seen. It's just completely unearthed gems. That actually, Murph, I think you even mentioned that. I was looking through, going through the lyrics today, and I think you even mentioned that in one of your bars about unearthed gems. I was telling LB that Eclipse Experience is my favorite track from that one. Yeah, there you go.
Man,
I appreciate that.
There you go.
Sir.
There you go.
Yo,
Yeah.
funny enough, when I came up with the title for Eclipse Experience, that was long before that eclipse happened. You know, right around that same time when the album was being put together and all of that happened. Like, I don't know, man. That was destiny right there. That was fated for that track to be as great as.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That was out of my hands.
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah, you guys came correct with that one. Good to have you, Sheila, all the way from the Philippines. So that's
Respect.
yeah.
That's a
Thank
big
you,
time
Sheila.
difference right there. Respect. Thanks for hanging out.
Oh yeah. What? It's like 9:30 over there, I think. 9:30, 9:24
Imagine that's AM, right?
a.m. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, drink your coffee, drink whatever your tea, whatever it is you're having, sipping on. You know?
Yeah.
Hang out, you got all day.
Yeah, you got a
20
Sunday
times at
morning
one
over
point, man.
there. Oh man.
Down with the dedication. Respect, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, back to backing around again. So I'll tell you the rest of the story, and then we'll play it. Basically, what ended up happening was Murphy hit me up, and he's like, "Yeah, you know, I'm doing he basically was doing backing around again, the track," and I was like, "Let me hop on this, like, you know, because I kind of was like, I feel this, you know, I think On the Rocks." Impermanence at the time, but no, On the Rocks. That's right.
It was On the Rocks. Yeah,
It was On the Rocks. Yeah. I was like, you know, my boy, he has to come back. You know, and so, we were like, okay, yeah. So I did a verse, and then I kind of played along with the hook, and so we came up with Backing Around Again Part 2, and it was funny because later on we thought for this album maybe we could get a verse from On the Rocks. And it didn't happen, but we didn't feel like it was wrong or something. We felt like, no, this feels right, you know, just to keep it the way it is. We did some changes just to kind of, you know, keep the track kind of, you know, swinging a little bit harder. I know it was a little awkward to cut out some things, but we did some edits there and had the hook come in a couple more times and. But still, it's nice to have that track. It's actually, I mean, every time I hear that, that's a great like beginning to the album. I don't know, in my opinion, I feel like it works.
Outside of the intro itself, for the first vocal track, Backing Around Again Part 2 is a great way to just introduce everybody to, you know, it might be the first time they're picking up a Mo-Fi product.
Yeah.
As for a vocal track to where it's a heartfelt story between, you know, two friends, and they're just sending out the proverbial bat signal, we'll say. You know, the Mo-Fi symbol is up in the air. They're like, yo, On the Rocks, where you at? I mean, it goes into track 3 perfect. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Setups.
I know. Yeah, no, it does. And then
that's
On the
what
Rocks,
I was gonna comment on. It goes into the next one perfectly.
Mhm.
It's set up great.
Yeah. We I tell you what, On the Rocks has a pretty strong presence on this album. I'm not gonna lie. He came on.
Which is
in hard.
crazy. I felt like I took a
Yeah.
when it came to actually doing the tracks and writing everything. A little backstory before we jump into backing around. Like I felt like I actually took a back seat on this album and gave you guys more time to shine and really do your thing, because I was all over Mo-Fi 1. I took quite a lot of ear time on that one. So I felt like I did take a step back on this, but the tracks that I am on, yeah, they do kind of hang. They've got some presence to them, so I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and you got 3
You went
solo
crazy.
tracks. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. All right, cool. So let's get into that. Backing around again. We're gonna go ahead and play that.
On Mo-Fi Radio.
Used to do it like this, back and around again, back and around again. We used to do it like this, back and around again, back and around again. We used to cipher like this, back and around again, back and around again. We used to love like this, back and around again, back and around again. Yo, back in the day it's Grandmaster, kicking it with him, trying to be a mic blaster. Rhymes were disaster, brain it needed matter. I was steady taking notes from the music making master. Sitting right there, I was truly unaware of the spark causing glare in my eyes. You can stare. These days I keep close when I really need them most. Had dreams of a duo that would always brag and boast. But such is life, we both got our stripes. We live in life. I let my page ignite like my heart with this fight. If you listen very close, you can get what I mean. Can hear the teardrops fall on the lines in between. It's truly obscene what stands right before me. Vastly open valley, many days to see. The man that I need right by my side has begun to hide. I wanna figure out why.
Like this, back and around again, back and around again. We kick it like this, back and around again, back and around again. Yo, we flow like this, back and around again, back and around again. We keep it moving like this, back and around again, back
and around again. Yo, life of the lunchtime scene on my screen. Held it down, Hercules, beating whack MCs. Melody running through, release the pressure from you. And that's just one more thing you always told me to do. Yeah, this is a message in the comment box. Remember when the whole stage is what we wanted to rock? At the end, the mic drop, encore on the spot. We were hit to the hop, filling up on top. Now when I was growing up, CIA was around. The words he spoke could reach throughout entire crowds. And how did he know what he said was gonna spark light, bring peace to many fights deep inside of my mic? The rhymes I caught in action causing grave distractions. Imagine if I had my skill, we'd write raps on the walls and stay performing them all. That's what the homie would want. I think he'd tell me kill them all. But now we do it like this, back and around again, back and around again. And now we cipher like this, back and around again, back and around again. We let them know like this, back and around again, back and around again. And now we love like this, back and around again,
back and around again. Dropping 16, surrounded by mixed teams. Flows didn't miss wings. Who knew that we were this clean? Opportunities we searched for a kiss. Things didn't play out like that girl we called Chris Cream. You know that short Vietnamese in tight jeans, or that crazy one with the weed. She was frightening. Times were exciting. There were nice things, and every single morning brought to us nice things. That's in the past, so you know we didn't plan it. Didn't know we'd flow and be known around the planet. And we didn't turn to bandits. See, we managed with nothing to our name but some tracks that were slamming. Who cares if we didn't make the money, yo? That life is for sellouts and crummy flows. We got much more than Kanye and his funny clothes. Actual respect and skills, I suppose. Back and around again, back and around again. We kick it like this, back and around again, back and around again. Yo, we flow like this, back and around again, back and around again. We keep it moving like this, back and around again, back
and around again.
Man, I love that outro. I love that. I love the hidden songs, man.
Yeah.
The flute going and everything just kind of brings it all in, man. You know. I believe it's a flute. Correct me if I'm wrong,
no,
LB.
No, that's right. That's the flute. Yeah. You good. You straight.
Word.
That's one of those beats where I was like, I'd love to like record something for it, but I don't think that would be right. I don't think that would work. I think we just keep it as an instrumental. And even then, I didn't want to do any like transitions or anything. I was just like, just let that beat ride. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Do its thing. Sometimes it's all it's got to do.
Yeah. So
any final thoughts on backing around again too?
Yeah.
So we talked at that one pretty good at length before we went into it. So
yeah. So
I got nothing to add.
yeah. That's. I think we covered that one, huh?
yeah.
So where the man begins, you gotta tell him the
Where
concept.
the man begins.
You gotta tell him the concept.
All right, so this was an interesting one, I will admit. So where the man begins ties directly into further on into the album, and the machine ends. The whole premise between these two songs was to give you, the presence of me on the microphone, right? You get on the rocks when it comes to where the man begins. That's the person that you get when the microphone's doing its thing. When I'm in front of all y'all, like right now, this is on the rocks. Typically, very chill, mellow, relaxed kind of an individual behind the scenes. All the animation, all the front forwardness, and being super talkative. That's rocks. So that's what you're getting when it comes to this track. It's very showboaty. It's very, front leaning. Hey, I could be your hype man. Here it is. Ha ha ha. On the rocks, and definitely when it comes to just jumping into the lyrics on this track, you really get that too. It's just like, hold on, who is this? This guy. Okay. So you're getting the character. You're getting the front end, the animated on the rocks version. We peel that back later on into the album, and as DJ or LB alluded to earlier, you get, a developing story of me throughout the entire album. So I really start pulling back those layers. So by the time you get to where the machine ends, towards the end of the album, you kind of get to that core. All right, this is, the artist behind the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It kind of plays out. It's really good. It's a great contrast compared to some of the stuff that you got off of MoFi 1, where, the On the Rocks experiment is probably the best example there, to where that's another Shobi, track. You're like, braggadocious. This is me. I know I got skills on the mic. Let me show you what I can do. This album, I really pull that back and I start diving more into, the person behind the pen, the person behind the mic. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
lore dump track. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, lore dump. If you don't mind me adding a little bit, I remember when you first came to me about the idea with the concept. For those who are familiar with the anime Trigun, the main character, Vash the Stampede, right? You kind of felt like you kind of had this duality to your character, similar to his, and that's where the idea came from, or at least where there was that connection to that, and I remember what's interesting about it, and I'll tell you guys a little. Well, you know what? Actually, why don't we do this? I'll talk about the way that we put those tracks together after everyone hears them, because I think it would be a lot more impactful if they were to hear how those tracks came together after, hearing the tracks. So we'll save that for like the end of the album then.
Yeah, gotcha. Little final review breakdown, yes sir.
Yeah. When we hit, and where the machine ends and listen to that track, then I'll kind of reveal, what it was, what the process was for those two tracks, because it was quite interesting, and it came together like beyond perfect. It was just perfect. It was so perfect. I mean, On the Rocks, what do you think about it? The way it came together, like how...
we'll touch on it a little bit, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the overall concept, we'll talk a little bit about that now and more later. But with Trigun, outside of Cowboy Bebop, which my background that I got going right now, some wallpapers from that, Trigun was probably like my second favorite anime growing up watching. And later on in life, I realized it's because I connect a lot with the character portrayal of Vash himself. Like I was mentioning earlier, very high animated, charismatic, real goofy type of a character. But that's the front end. That's what you get. But when it's time to knuckle down and get down to business, Vash is all about that life. He turns into a completely different person. I don't know if you can really spoiler alert an anime that's been around for like 30 years, but
yeah,
spoiler alert. Towards the very end of that one, you find out that, lo and behold, there's more to Vash than meets the eye. Between him and his brother and everything else, they were, genetically modified. They're, half android type of a vibe going on. And that's the concept of where the machine ends. That's why it's where the man begins, where the machine ends. But like LB said, we'll dive into more of that later on.
Yeah.
Dang, I was watching that. No, I'm just
My bad. I warned you. Could have turned your headphones off.
Yeah. All right. Where the Man Begins. We'll go ahead and play it.
It's On the Rocks. Pressure's on, what you know about a style clash. Mind fast, ink trickle out the diamond cash. Talking big leagues, 6 feet above the surface. Couldn't slip, trip, fall into my culture's purpose. Roll just on the whim, pushing 7 p.m. Served you up some cold bars and metaphorical sandwiches. Easy to consume, but you don't need a resume. Who got the answers? Mo-5, winner thrice on the rocks swing. Mix of functions, got equations adding up. King to battle your bishop, queens throwing anties up. Got the mind for power and the power of the mind. So when push comes to shove, mind power to pride. Sitting in the mix of that boom bap kick. How you flip, got the switch like some kendo sticks. Bugging up to something, got the loving for the function. 16 years caught the tri bug and I loved it.
His name is, what's his name, what's his name, his name is, what's his name is, what's his name is, what's his name, what's his name, what's his name is, what's his name, what's his name is.
Style match character, the plan to remaster. Ambient sound surround, impress the caster. Never battle kids that couldn't back it up. Spoke the biggest of game, just the light to be acting tough. How you get away with the illest of bits? Corny white boy spitting that drip up off the lips. Oh, he clever, but he's weird. Dresses seen accordingly. Morning of the bell ringing, left the crowd disorderly. Used to get away with saying sly dope things. Honeys that would trickle by just to catch that wink. How you think that I would dress it? Smooth and suave, winking and not tell them all to come my way. But the hearts were steady crowded and they felt so hollow. Taste of success followed by the absence of a follow. Didn't know where to go from there, so I stopped and I paused just to let my head clear.
His name is, what's his name, what's his name, what's his name is, what's his name is, what's his name is, what's his name is, name is, what's his name, what's his name? His name is, his name is, his name is, his name is, what's his name, what's his name, what's
Be
his
surprised
name?
by the actions of that one dope kid. On the rocks, many names, few stable relationships. MC Timmy T, he was the youngest to pass. Had the swagger of a Greyhound bus, running laps in class. MC CIA caught in action, not much. So permanent swept that mind up under the rug. And it lasted like a decade or so, it seemed. Till the eagles being clawed and they tore me at the seams. How do I patch together just to find my mind? The power to overcome the adversity of spite. I tutored for doom, found fables in Aesop. Overexposed to influence of apathy's workshops. Couldn't be me, I'm talking deep in the links. Precious thing called flicks of that rhythm and sphinx. Talking in riddles on the illest instrumentals. Mofi brought them together, keep it coincidental.
His name is, his name is, his name is, his name is, what's his name, what's his name, what's his name is, his name is, his name is, his name is, what's his name?
It's on the rocks.
His name is, his name is, his name is, his name is, what's his name, what's his name? His name is, his name is, his name is, his name is, what's his name, what's his name, what's his name?
It's on the rocks.
I always love that one. It's every time.
Phenomenal.
I know.
Phenomenal.
I love
As-
that.
You know, it just hit me, you know, listening to that right now. But there's a sound that plays throughout the track, more so in the hook, is where you can really notice it. But it reminds me of the, like the water surf levels from Crash Bandicoot. And if you know exactly what I'm talking about, when you hear that song and you play it back, especially at the end there, you'll be like, man, that's it. It's that like bang noise that plays.
Mm.
It reminds me of Crash Bandicoot surfing on his little jet ski board, you know, surfboard, whatever, going through the levels. Just stood out to me. I don't know, video game influence coming through, whether it was intended or not.
Yeah. I don't know about Crash Bandicoot, man, but
I know.
it's cool,
I was a
man.
Crash and Spyro kid, man. I knew you grew up with you know,
Oh,
Sonic,
yeah.
Mario battling. I was Crash and Spyro.
Yeah, I was definitely Sonic, Team Sonic for sure. And it's funny because like I mean, I have no hate for like Mario, you know, or any of the other platformers. I just can't do them. Like they're just Sonic. It's not just about the platforming. It's like it's the speed, it's the rush, you know, and I like that. I like to go fast, man. So, cool. So yeah,
Yes, sir.
we'll talk more about that. Let's see, we got some messages in the chat. This is one of the early release tracks that I really enjoyed. The production sounds amazing. Yeah, thanks, Jesse.
I agree.
Yeah, it's
Y'all both did your thing on it.
Funny enough, one of the last tracks of the album to be completed. One of the first ones we put out, but also one of the last tracks for the album to be completed.
Yeah, that's right. I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't even think. Yeah, I haven't thought about that one. That's true. That is true. Mike D, okay, that had me enjoy dancing in the background. All right, man. It's good to have you, by the way. Dom Crash is technically a classic. He was supposed to be PS poster kid. Yeah, well.
They did some really funny marketing with Crash Bandicoot, man.
Yeah.
That giant costume they had somebody going around just being an absolute hooligan in. Like, if you go back on YouTube, since we are streaming here live right now to you on No5 Radio, check out some of those old Crash promos that they used to run back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Unhinged. Absolutely unhinged.
Was there any difference in reception from putting out songs a few at a time to putting them all out at once? Also, hey yo to everyone. Hey, what's going on, G Lantern? Okay, so that's
Great question. Great question.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I felt like we were getting more plays on Spotify, but it's one of those things where it was like, it wasn't so different that like I was excited about it. At first I thought, man, this could actually work. We're gonna feed the algorithm the way it wants to be fed, and da da da. And
yeah, that algorithm, man, she don't know what she wants sometimes.
Yeah, you know, like
we can't win.
Yeah. So I think we got more plays. I think we got more playlists. I think we reached some people. But yeah, I don't know.
Overall, from I created the Spotify playlist for that one.
Yeah,
I was throwing the singles in there as they were coming out. I did the YouTube playlist for that one as well. There's probably some other playlists I could have tried to create. I'm not that familiar with the Apple side of things, just not. But yeah, it's just one of those things, just trying to cater to the masses, like LB said, feed the algorithm and really just get things going. But
yeah,
with trying to do the promo on Talk, on X, and then trying to sprinkle it around in other places as well, kind of felt like the same to me.
Yeah. From my side, Spotify was bragging to me about numbers, and the numbers didn't really look any different from month to month. We did get, I think we did get some new listeners, but I don't think it was.
I'm guilty of not paying too close attention. I just like putting the music out.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of in between that. I'm kind of like I'm leaning more towards Murphles. I like to put the music out, and if we get people who listens and they enjoy it and they support it,
more ears the better.
Yeah, it's great. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and I'm just like, okay, well, whatever. I put out stuff that just was like a pin needle drop, like this next track, Thesis Existential. I know some remember that from being on another album or another release that I put out before, and I actually ended up redoing the entire track for this album, remixing it. So I took all the samples, and then I went and placed them back down on a new project, and I like time stretched them, and I just retooled the whole thing, and I felt that track just fit the Modal Fidelity vibe, like strongly felt that way, and I was like, let's just put it in there. I don't know how, like, Murph, I remember you saying that you really liked that track. I don't know how you guys felt about me putting it in there, but
no, I really love that track.
Yeah, it's.
So I was perfectly
to just have on.
I was perfectly fine with that. I agree with Murph on that one. Bringing it back with a refreshed take on it, perfectly fine with me. I thought it was a great addition.
Yeah, and then plus it had a little bit more of that Home Space Collective. Yeah, that's right, Proto. Yeah, it. I ended up also putting in that last that vinyl must over it that we've kind of had, overall throughout all our tracks. But yeah, anyway, I also sped it up, so.
There you go.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and we want to go ahead and play that. We'll go ahead and
let's jump into this one. Do you want to just roll it straight into track 5 right after that, or do you want to take a moment, let that one breathe?
We can roll that straight into track 5. Yeah, and then we
all right, for sure.
Talk a little bit about track 5.
We won't be chatting on the mic, but we'll be in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to lock in. We're here for you. You got questions, ask them. Live. Fire Radio.
All right.
One of my favorite artists used to say it was a shackle on our wrist. Or is it something else we have to grapple with, like priorities until the system crackles? Snaps and pops like when Rice Krispies and milk tackles. Every minute has more value than a shop can haggle. We can't afford to trade a second, even for an apple. Yet we trade many hours to companies that battle for our time and money, and somehow this doesn't baffle. When I was single, I'd be lonely forever. After that is what I add up to. I used to think I was bad at math. I used to light up conversations just to find a match. I was the spine at the time, having my friends' backs. I don't really know exactly what we had lacked. Looking over the ingredients, still the taste is bad. Too much salt, so maybe some of us was mad. Not enough sugar to sweeten the deal when we were sad. I'd pour a glass for the past if it was a person. Sometimes it feels like we lost it to death's curtain. Now it's closed, on to the next act for certain. On the stage of life, gift wrap the present, flirting with the notion that within it you can find some purpose and give it to the future so your life just isn't worthless. Yesterday wasn't better cause of a flawed current. Film always fades, so memories ain't picture perfect.
I guess we need the same anymore. I guess we need the same. I guess we need the same anymore.
No,
Guess we're not the same.
not anymore, no. How many punches life got? They wanna see me rot, but reality I'm not. It's taking many tries to get to my spot. Golden opportunities came and got rocked. I'm like an astronaut, yeah, I'm headed for the moon. No need to build a tomb, I'm just stacking up my boom. So I had to make room, shake a couple suckers loose. Their minds were all gone, they ain't trying to see us cruise. I got the jewels, the crown, and the sun. On the microphone, I drop the weights and just run. It's Murph Dog's fun, hip-hop is my son. I got all kinds of gems that are waiting for they run. I'm giving one last wave to those in their graves. I'm on the better plays and better stays in my cage. The walls are all gone and they shaking in some boots. My eyes is on the prize, it's Mo find the booth, the truth.
I guess we need the same anymore. I guess we need the same. I guess we need the same anymore. Guess we're not the same.
If I could get to the specifics, I'd say there were signs. A fifth dimension of mind, substantial moment in time. Ash and go too deep like June's a battle of wine. Follow the essence like perfection, but time ages the wise. Above or below the pizza, it's all the crust of lies. A final thought, so it's fantasy's original prize. To leave us gold and swim complacent in eyes. With thoughts aligned to keys, our last benevolence high. Suffice to say, wish it could take me back to PSPs at lunchtime with the illest of raps. Murph's early hip-hop sound that left me feeling alive. Only responsibility, waking up and going to bed on time. If extraterrestrials were cruising on by, you think they'd scoop us for some dates to see if the planets aligned? It's funny, I still don't quite get the rest I deserve. Not the same, but the man's learn from cradle to earn.
I guess we need the same anymore. I guess we need the same. I guess we need the same anymore. Guess we're not the same. I guess we need the same anymore. I guess we need the same. I guess we need the same anymore. Guess we're not the same.
I guess a quick intro for the next track, or first let's talk about that one just real briefly,
Yeah.
right? I don't know what you guys' thoughts on it. For me, this is like, I mean that vibe we were going for, that modal soul, like Hideout Productions
Yeah,
classic.
if there was a track on this album that just screamed, you know, this was another ode to, you know, the Nujabes legacy, it had to have been this one.
Yeah.
And it came through in the verses, it came through with the overall vibe, with the vocal back, where, you know, we just say, hey, you know what, let's let this one breathe. We're not going to do a hook for this one. There is no, it's just the female vocals and it's doing its thing.
Yeah.
Love it. Incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Jesse. That was like a chill version of Dead Presidents.
I wouldn't have put two and two together on there, but all right, I get it. I get it.
Okay, yeah, I dig that.
All right. It's a bop from G Lantern. Respect. Appreciate you. Potency with the 3 flaming hearts. All right. Spicy Caliente. All right.
All right. Mike D really enjoyed that one. Cool. Yeah.
I dropped in the chat on that one. A lot of in references in that one when it came to my verse.
Yeah.
If you caught any of them, feel free to drop them in there. Go back, listen to it again in your free time. It's all there.
Yep. There's that 5Ds reference. We both did a 5Ds reference in that track, didn't we? Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't know if I caught that. It may have slipped to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, what was yours?
The shackle.
Right, got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then I know yours.
I had 2 in there.
Favorite
I had
song.
2 in there. Yeah.
2 of them. Okay.
There's technically 2. Yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning of my verse, a 5th dimension in time.
That's right. Yeah.
Little on the nose with that one, and there's a hidden one a little later on. But yeah, like you said, one of our favorite tracks.
The extraterrestrial taking us on a date. Yeah.
Extraterrestrials were cruising on by. You think they scooped on a date? Yeah.
Yeah. They'll never hear that. The 5Ds will never hear that. You know, that's too bad.
Never.
It's too bad for them.
Bad John, if you're out there.
Right. Yeah, I know. That email is left unread. You know.
Not for a lack of trying.
Yeah, well. Okay, so the next track, or Murph, you wanted to add something to that?
Anything for your verse on that one, Murph?
It's just about growth. That's all I can say. That's the core of that. It's just about growing.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Cool.
All right,
So, baggage claim. This was just
back to that.
Yeah.
Back to the MoFi 1 with the airplane theme. You have landed or picking up your baggage.
You know what's crazy about that?
What's up?
This is the first time that I realized that was a reference to our first album.
Yeah.
Nah. Come on, man.
Oh no.
You've made it through the airport. You made the journey to album too, 1. Man. You just landed.
Oh man. All right.
Little jet lag. That would be a little jet lag.
Yeah. Volume 3. I have to make a beat called Jet Lag.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, that's crazy.
That'll be the intro track. Jet Lag.
Jet Lag.
Some cabby themes. Something going on in the background.
Yeah.
Traffic sounds.
Maybe I'll even cut out that little part where I'm like, I just noticed that reference, and just to make fun of it. All right, cool. So, baggage claim. Let's go ahead and play it.
Yes, sir.
And then, how about we'll go ahead and throw in Special Way right after that. So, baggage claim and then Special Way.
Sounds good.
Works for me.
Tuned in live on MoFi Radio.
Been a part of bigger pictures, never seen the image though. The visuals too organic, I'm more akin to synthodrones. But since you're home, let's talk about the past. Writing last rights and smash mics, the people love our past life. And I be on the mend, imperial marches. Target spark the largest heart, the parts of my darkness. Panoramic used to bloody to register a negative. Grip the HK like I'm a hammer when I'm posting hits. The bars are script, vernacular Shakespearean appearing in your souls. I've also deepest condolences. Let's focus sins, pair them to mind. The flavor like a medley of spices and autumn winter wine. So divine, ironic at the course of my Lord's lips. I define the talent of the work of my madness. I cast this toast into the stratosphere. I'm happy you're here, but let's make sure we got the story clear. We're bumping, we been cruising, we got nothing to lose. Been obtuse like a Luth, choose your second to prove. We could fall out of bounds, find a new path to choose. Not hidden but out of view due to the actions we knew. We been bumping, we been cruising, we got nothing to lose. High shots on the mic like calibration was proof. The words that we kick got impressions and views. Rings around the baggage claim for a view of our tunes.
Avalanche smash on the beat. Cold and tumbling, no rewind, keep in motion like my tongue is juggling. All my rhymes break it down like a comet is crumbling. Keep in mind, benevolence is far from suffering. I drive way through highways at different point of views, relating my way like my subjects point at you. Been crafting music that sounds like hidden jewels for so long, I couldn't even count that many moons. While the rest asleep, numbering sheep, missing out, guess your beats just lack that inner peace. Ouch, struggling with coherence like they're strangled. These rappers couldn't hang with us if they were dangled off of the cliffs of Everest, so cold I never rest. Behold my verse full circle, no clever jest. If you want a battle, please send your very best, or get lost in my tunes like a narcoleptic
We been bumping,
pest.
we been cruising, we got nothing to lose. Been obtuse like a loot, to just taking to prove. We could fall out of bounds, find new paths to choose. Not hidden, but at the view, due to the actions we knew. We been bumping, we been cruising, we got nothing to lose. Hot shots on the mic, the calibration was proof. The words that we kick got impressions and views. Mingle around the baggage claim for a view of our tunes.
But if y'all reach the summit, y'all know we gonna run it. Break your soft suckers down while we thinking nothing of it. Is beat to not be Shakespearean on my mic beam. Lightning, Zeus steady shaking while I just gleam. My flow's known to cold, way longer than y'all's goes. Y'all really just impose, not really meant for flows. Blow my nose at y'all, just allergic to y'all. Throwing the rock, still keep a brick wall to y'all. Come on. Who really meant for ones and the twos? Who really got to juice the whole kit and caboodle? It's Murph, the judge, a real American gun. A hot shot to some, but really just for fun. I keeps it on like those archers that be golden on the nickel plate. Still a Murph dog, it's just floating. Y'all know we keeps it going, our hope is steady growing. Mo Fico, we got those melodies you humming.
We been bumping, we been cruising, we got nothing to lose. Been obtuse like a loot, choose your taking to prove. We could fall out of bounds, find a new path to choose. Not hidden but at a view, due to the actions we knew. We been bumping, we been cruising, we got nothing to lose. Hot shots on the mic like calibration was proof. The words that we kick got impressions and views. Mingle around the baggage claim for a view of our tunes.
right. Yeah, just quick story on that last one. A special way. So that beat, I had it as a loop, just a loop that I was working on, and it was just sitting in my projects, just sitting there, just like, and let's see, Sheila, having breakfast now on the PH. Tunes makes my coffee more delish. All right, okay. Man, that sounds like a vibe right now, don't it? Like morning time.
Sure, I got a cup of coffee right now. I ain't going to sleep tonight. So you enjoy that coffee for me. A little late for us right now.
Hey, I get a cup of coffee. I can still sleep. So actually, that sounds pretty good. A cup of coffee. But yeah, that track, Special Way, was just sitting in my projects. So I'll tell you guys a little secret about that one. I came up with this concept for the game Astroverse that I was working on, where I would have I would have these virtual artists come in, randomly, on the city planet, and they would perform. So when you go into your rest area, in between runs, you would actually have a performance in the background on the screens in the background, and basically that track was the inspiration for that. And I was like, you know what if I had this track playing, when there's just you're just in this futuristic city, about to rest up, heal up, or whatever, buy items, and then keep going on your run. And so it was kind of like this thing. I was like, yeah, I could visualize it, and so obviously that was put on the back burner with Astroverse for time being. It hurts to say that's on the back burner, but that's pretty much what it was. And so that project was in there, and I was like, nah. When I found it and I dug it back up, I was like, this is too good to just sit here. And I'm like, let's put it on. Let's put it on Mode Fidelity too. So
for sure. Greatness will not be slept on around these parts.
Never, not once.
No. Speaking of which, Rhythm is Wove.
Speaking of greatness, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that might be. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, this is probably the pivotal thing that really brought Mo-Fi Volume 2 together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
This is the track, which it's not 100% right in the middle, just with how the track placements come out, but it really does mark, like I said in the chat, right after Special Way, there's a shift in the tone and the content of the album, and this is kind of really where that starts to shift and pick up, and that pace kind of changes. But Rhythm is Wove started off as just kind of like a one-off. LB sent a verse over to Murph and I. We're just like, hey, I got this. I'm cooking this up right now. What do you guys think? And then, I kid you not, I was just playing it through my phone speakers, and I'm like, dude, I got to dual screen this. And I just started writing. As it's playing, I'm typing on my phone. I'm like, this is gas. We need to throw matches on this one. This is amazing. And I came up with the hook on this one. We fed off of it. We created off of that. I took a backseat on this one. I really, after the work and everything that LB and Murph threw together verse-wise on this one, I was 100% okay just being the hook and really kind of anchoring it there. We've got crazy ideas for this one. If we can ever work out the actual resources and time,
we'll figure it out,
and getting everybody together, we would love to do more with this track. It may be an ongoing theme later on, depending on how projects and time go, but Rhythm is Wove. That sounds special, man. This is a great one to jump into.
Yeah. I feel like Rhythm is Wove almost represents our group probably the best.
It does.
The way we play off of each other, the beat, the vibe, the sound, all of it. It's great. I want to say the message of the track is just us.
It is, Yeah. And Murph, if you want to talk a little bit more on that with your stance on the song, but from at least from my point of view on that one, I mean, it really just brings us all together.
Yeah.
You know, at the core of it all, between the verses and the hook and everything, it's just you get a great piece of everybody in this one showcase, catalog, whatever you want to call it.
It makes me laugh a little bit hearing it a little bit, because I struggle so much with songs like this.
But you absolutely killed it.
I know.
That's the greatest thing ever. I love
I
hearing
struggle
that.
so much with these.
Oh man, that's crazy.
It's hard for me.
Hey, your verse was arguably the best one.
Y'all's verses were so great. I was like, I can't do a verse on this.
But you know,
I couldn't do a verse on this one.
I
You know what I'm saying?
know.
Like, and I could. I got gas.
You started it. You started it though.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
You
I
did start it, man.
I
You
sent
were
the
to jump
beat.
off.
That
Very
was
true.
originally this track was supposed to just be an instrumental, and then you did something to it, and I was like, "What?" Like, you know. And so I put something on it, and then Murph just killed it.
Close it out. You know. It was-
Mhm.
After that, it was.
Yeah.
And then after Rhythm is Wove, we've got another classic track from LB that got a retouch, you know, a refresh brought back on this one with a new case of life.
I love it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's an absolute banger of a track that we got following up on that one as well.
Yeah. I think if work didn't suck, and it's funny, I got the old title on there. I gotta fix that real quick. But the street mix, I feel like that one was more. It carried more of that hideout production
bounce.
kind of. Yeah, more
Yeah.
bounce to it. The mixing was
That
better.
song's so good. Sorry.
no, it's good. It's good. Hey, I'm glad you guys like it. I know somebody in the chat who doesn't like it.
We won't say no names.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. I shouldn't gas him up. That'd be messed up. Thanks for coming. You know, I'm not even gonna say his name. No,
Hey man, all opinions are appreciated. We get
yeah.
it, we understand.
yeah. But it's a weird track because I felt like, I mean, that track when I originally wrote it, and then this version, I always felt that it was special in a way, you know, because no one else wrote that. Like no one else, you know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. It's like that song, you know, how's it go? I wish. Have you ever heard that song? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller.
yeah.
I wish I, you know, like
who is that, dude? Is that? Oh, dude, that's one of my wife's favorite songs.
yeah. It's like one of those tracks. It's like no one else has done that. No one's gonna do that. And
I think Skilo.
Stilo, yeah, that's right, yeah. But I mean, here's the funny thing, like I always get some kind of like really aggressive negative feedback about the track. Every time like the last time I put it out, I had a guy do a whole stream and he was like reviewing the album, and it was the one track he didn't like. And I was just like,
Which is crazy because the whole tone of the song it's lighthearted.
yeah.
It's talking about serious, you know, like work fatigue. It's
Mhm.
talking like, you know, life shouldn't be like this. You know, I should wake up every day and be happy about waking up every day. But
Yeah.
you know, one of my wife's favorite line in the whole song, and every time it would come on in the car, is every time you say, what is it, gosh darn it, or you say something like real funny.
Oh, doggone it.
In there, doggone it. There you go. And she just starts dying laughing. She's just like, it's with knowing LB and like all the other content you've made and she's listened to over the last few years. She's just like, it's the most randomest bit of dialogue. Randomest, like the whole song is just lighthearted and funny.
Yeah,
You know, it's not something to take so like personal or serious.
yeah,
Work sucks, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Most people don't have an enjoyable 9 to 5, a 6 to 2, you know what I'm saying? Like a 5 to 9, whatever it might be, you know, and it's just reality. It's life. It's calling it out. It's making fun of it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I didn't have enough to make the payments. Like I couldn't even get a full meal. You know, like,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things. And then this time it was like the first one's better, so this one's like, you know, and I don't know. I like them both the same. I was listening to the old one. Part of the reason why I put this one on here was because, again, I wanted a better mix, a better master, and something that was just, solid production wise, that we could take anywhere. We can take on stage with us or anywhere we want to. Because some of those old tracks, I'm using samples that I never cleared. So just throwing it out there, like.
That's a whole nother stream in and of itself.
Yeah, so
there's a whole album that almost got shelved because of that.
Yeah, right. So here's what we're gonna do. We'll play Rhythm is Wove, If Work Didn't Suck, the street mix, and then we'll also play Return to My Place. So we'll play all those three and get through those three, and then we'll break at a Less Lonely City. That will be definitely on the rocks to drop some.
Yeah, we'll get into that one.
Yeah. All right. Rhythm is Wove.
Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you. You are tuned in live to MoFi Radio.
Just another day, one foot in the grave, where my pay don't change like an action feels depraved, or I save and I muster everything to get ahead. But the game set the high settings, can't change the bets. Tell me you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but I tank when it comes to the plot. See, the more that I got, getting wanna hold, the more nature kicks in. Seem to find the emptiness of soul, caught in the rain, feeling so cold. How the fortune unfolds when the rhythm is wove.
When the rhythm is wove, when the rhythm is wove.
As the fortune unfolds when the rhythm is wove. Just another day, one foot in the grave, where my pay don't change like an action feels depraved, where I save and I muster everything to get ahead. But the game set the high settings, can't change the bets. Tell me you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but I tank when it comes to the plot. See, the more that I got, getting wanna hold, the more nature kicks in. Seem to find the emptiness of soul, caught in the rain, feeling so cold. How the fortune unfolds when the rhythm is wove.
When the rhythm is wove, when the rhythm is wove.
How the fortune unfolds when the rhythm is wove.
When the rhythm is wove, when the rhythm is wove, when the rhythm is wove, when the rhythm is wove. I bring peace to these beats like the rhythm is home, with the rhyme standing out like my lyrics is bold. More value in a verse than a minute of gold. The rhythm is wove like a tapestry. I keep it running on these tracks like a rappy's feet. Time is worth more than the dreams we waste. Better double check that trash bin just in case. Yeah, we throw away time like in recycle bins. Can't get it back, can't recycle it. No matter how you try, can't rewind the time. Even if you had an infinite amount of dimes, even if you had an infinite amount of dimes, ain't nothing more valuable than love, I find. Love's greater than miracles and what you're told. Where the rhythm is wove, where the rhythm is wove. Dig deep, you can find it wherever you go. Where the rhythm is wove, where the rhythm is wove.
Where the rhythm is wove, where the rhythm is wove.
Where the rhythm is wove, where the rhythm is wove.
Where the rhythm is wove, yeah, where the rhythm is wove. I keep it on non-stop where the rhythm is wove. I always wear a beanie cap cause it's cold where it's wove. Campfire from the heart where the rhythm is wove. I want to catch wreck from Earth D cassette with a verse on deck that's bound to free hands. Gotta have an open mind at the top of the day. Gotta maybe press rewind when you tripping, okay? You take a couple steps back, a deep breath at that. Everything'll be fine, you're gonna bounce right back. So feel the rhythm that we wove for y'all, it's set stone. Peel the layers of your dome for once, you'll get blown. Knowledge yourself to maximize your wealth. I kick a couple quick rounds to go and clear my health. You see it's easy, the rings of brass ain't moving so fast. A quick flash, all you need to get mad. Let the rhythm hit hard like when you hit cement, but let the rhythm feel soft like when you hit your bed. Now the rhythm is stone, now the rhythm is stone.
How the fortune unfolds when the rhythm is wove.
Now the rhythm is stone, now the rhythm is stone.
When the rhythm is wove, when the rhythm is wove.
Where the rhythm is wove, where the rhythm is wove.
How the fortune unfolds when the rhythm is wove.
Now the rhythm is stone, now the rhythm is stone.
When the rhythm is wove, when the rhythm is wove.
Every day is brand new, but problems still persist. Gotta learn how you work to finally get a grip. Take a second and replay right before your day. Everything will be okay, hip hop hooray. Everything will be okay, hip hop hooray. Yeah, everything will be okay, hip hop hooray. Everything will be okay, hip hop hooray. Yeah, everything will be okay, hip hop hooray.
If only work didn't suck. 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 If it didn't suck. If work didn't suck. If only work didn't suck so much. It's just such a slug. Just getting up, it sucks. Waking in the morning, yawning and complaining it's boring. Every single day going, leaving, going. Treated like a pawn and it makes you wanna groan. And pause for moments, use words like doggone. And sing a sad song and go on and on and on and on and on. And no time to moan and step past the mic back. I really wish day jobs wasn't really like that. It ain't quite like as if we can just strike back like the Empire did to the rebels in IMAX theaters, if you get my point. This is real life, not insert your favorite fantasy of choice. I can move hearts just by speaking with my voice, make the shackle feel free and the sad rejoice. But when it comes to work, man, I'm just dirt. I'm talking entry-level sand, here is what I'm worth. I could think of many grand ways for me to turn this into a positive thing, like how I had to learn how to get my lazy butt to do the dishes. My dad likened them to villains that I could diminish. Being a hero was something that took my interest, so next thing you know, I had the sponge and I was finished. But the funny thing about occupations, they only go away when you're taking vacations. That's temporary relief of frustrations. Mondays always return with no patience, and then you can do it all again. Rinse and repeat, watch the glass of an end where the work week blends off to the horizon, where Friday shines at you and Saturday is just smiling. It's just smiling. It's just smiling. But if only work didn't suck. But if only work didn't suck. 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 If it didn't suck. If work didn't suck. If only work didn't suck. We could drive a truck, have fun and run amok. Well, maybe that's too much, but just by a touch, a job shouldn't have to feel like it is a crutch. We rely on it so that we can function, yet we're obstructed by our lack of freedom from it. So for me, I'd like to change it. I'm a data center tech, but with some imagination, I'm the guardian of a space station near the planet Palma. I protect the ancients, knowledge and data from evil trying to take it, dispatching heroes to the planets to save them. I thought of this at work and it was dope. Then my boss called me and the immersion was just choke. Will I try again? Maybe? Nope. I remember school like, dude, it was a joke. So much of us just wanted to grow up. I was the only one at graduation feeling like throw up. Now I don't feel toe up, but still bills will show up every single week. Like, yo, what? It's a flipping deal. And doesn't it occur to you that it is a sin to steal? Yet you show up in my wallet like a thief for real. I demand an explanation and a meal, but let me guess, that costs money, and money has to come from a place that's not funny. We call it work, so we work till it hurts. Sometimes we get a meal, but we're treated like jerks, but with no explanation. I guess I didn't make enough to make the payment. Remember? I wanted a meal and an explanation, but I couldn't make the payment. If only work didn't suck. If only work didn't suck. If only work didn't suck. If it didn't suck. If work didn't suck. If only work didn't suck. If only work didn't suck. If only work didn't suck. If it didn't suck. If work didn't suck. If only 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 work didn't suck. If it didn't suck. If work didn't suck.
If there was ever a track that could have gone on Cowboy Bebop's playlist, oh my goodness.
Yeah, man. Oh. I don't know. We gotta start thinking about maybe emailing some of these anime studios, man. See if they can pick us up, because it'd be nice to.
I looked into that for certain things. I was like, I hear a lot of so-so music and a lot of these original series that certain networks and apps be using. No free marketing here. But they've got their own inner workings, teams, and
Yeah.
once upon a time when maybe they were smaller networks or opportunities there, you could submit to a playlist or an email. There were people that were around for that. But they've got their own audio sources, catalogs, and everything that they put now internally. It's really tough to get into. So unless somebody that's doing
Yeah.
the actual production work on the back end for it, there's just no way to get in anymore. I never did hear back from Toonami. Adult Swim, I reached out. Never heard back.
Oh man, yeah. I imagine that's why we've never truthfully gotten something like Samurai Champloo or Cowboy Bebop ever again.
It's true though. Yeah, it's true.
That's probably why. I mean, there's been some anime I've watched with Kimmy, that had some decent soundtracks, but nothing quite as colorful.
I like the
nothing.
last one that really stood out to me, and forgive me, I never did end up finishing it, but Devilman Cry, I think was the last one that was we're really going to include some hip hop undertones into this and hip hop influence, and I'm like, okay, they're nodding to the Samurai Champloo beforehand, maybe the Cowboy Bebop beforehand, things like that. But I don't think it's really ever been one that kind of really ran with it as a core element of the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Which sucks, because it's great. You can do so much with that. One that probably would have been hilarious, thinking back on it now, and I'm so mad they never got a second season, was Dorohedoro.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The guy with he has the lizard head or the alligator head, and he really loves gyoza. The whole show is completely unhinged. I love it. It's great. Never got a second season for it though.
Yeah.
Kind of fell apart. That one would have been great with a hip hop, undertone with that one, a little influence in there with some of the background music, because it was real rugged, gritty,
Yep.
Final Fantasy slums type vibe,
Yep.
would have been great there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as mentioned in the chat, for those that may not have noticed or seen it, we did lose Murphles as far as audio-wise. We won't be hearing back from Murphles just due to some stuff he has going on at home. But he is in the chat. If you have any questions for LB, myself, or Murph, we're around to answer those. But as far as anything goes, on track 11.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to say about track 11 before we get into track 11?
A Less Lonely City it starts off very interesting. It's a braggadocious track that shifts in tone as the song goes on, and it's a growth track for me. Murphles, he hinted at earlier, Rhythm is Wove was all about growth. When he was writing it, that was the core content of that. When it comes to A Less Lonely City, that's my growth track, but you're hearing that as the verses progress. As that song starts, you have Very Young on the rocks coming through with that energy, the tone, the content of that language. And then as it moves on, you're getting me growing, not just as a person, but in my relationships, my comfortability, and just who I am as a person overall now. And at the end of all of it, it's a dedicated song to my wife. This is my wife's dedication song for the album.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we'll get into it. Less Lonely City. And then we'll go ahead and throw in Feeling Fine after that. How about that? We'll do that.
Yeah, we'll jump right into it. We'll touch back around for Feeling Fine, because I feel like that one needs a little talking afterwards. And then we'll jump into Inner Shade Drift, kind of bring us into that second half of the album officially.
Yep. Okay, sounds good.
All right, here we go.
I never front, had the Yeti, mic in hand when I struck. Battleground sounds hit like a million clubs. Bass thump, chord thrums like a galaxy slums. Lonely city when you leave me, love collect stardust. Never front, had the Yeti, mic in hand when I struck. Battleground sounds hit like a million clubs. Bass thump, chord thrums like a galaxy slums. Lonely city when you leave me, love collect stardust. Thought I would have hella biddies on my jock with this. Dripping juices like I'm fluid in the French influence. Kicking it into Latin so I can spit this love. Deverabo and then minyan metaquam. Disproportionate the law, I get something base vanilla. White chocolate was the first right name given when I delivered. Can't jump white band balls rebounded in sin. Innocence, finger licking, chicken flavored barbarians. Had the bleachers geeking like, yo, who is this? Game's lost, but found winning, the big trophy kid. Bass bumping, got the thumping when I'm rolling home. Philadelphia is the mecca that I pray to from my iron throne. I never front, had the Yeti, mic in hand when I struck. Battleground sounds hit like a million clubs. Bass thump, chord thrums like a galaxy slums. Lonely city when you leave me, love collect stardust. Never front, had the Yeti, mic in hand when I struck. Battleground sounds hit like a million clubs. Bass thump, chord thrums like a galaxy slums. Lonely city when you leave me, love collect stardust. Sitting in the chair, staring at the heart of hearts. Something of a stargazer trapped in my noon spark. Frozen corpse when the Marcus chip skylark. Timmy Turner with the burner, Jimmy Neutron smart. Izzy Azumi, Tentamana surfing unruly. Kabuteri Mon with the wingspan, Sun Sumi. Rip the game set back, the kit repacked. In fact, Sun Sumi with the dueling when you find my tracks. Got the beat on lock, that's your kingpin's ball. Set the queen to checkmate when that rapping is not. Hear glasses clink in the echoes of my dreams. Staying to familiar parts that don't even like me. Dark rock, seeing how my self-reflection hits. When liquor's caramel complexion is my soul color shift. I wanna dig down to myself one time. Find a part of me that wouldn't be happy in my rhymes. But it's hard to find, yet I know I'm laying right there. And that self-care is rare unless my glass runs clear. So I share my life with a love I feel so real. A real love, the real love when your soulmate bears. Got aces, she sees spaces I didn't know would bleed. She fills those voids and dedicated to setting me free. A calm force when she wants to express these feelings that she echoes like a lady that's nightly. It's moments, pauses, seconds, hours shared rightly. Her by my side and conquering every fight likely. Aerith to my Zach fan, her eyes ain't scared. Battle demons and gods to raise your stats right here. Any ill will protect like ribbons as armbands. Less lonely city when I'm here holding a hand. Listen to the laughter in the breeze at you. A reminder of the good times left to pursue. Even when I'm feeling down, dark, left on mute. You find love in my eyes that brings this light through. I say I'm blessed, you say no, that's me, not you. Because I'm patient and kind and live life into you. But you give me more than air, blood pumping my veins. Till the hat saying it's a terrible day for rain.
I said it's fine. I feel this way sometimes. Only a minute more, just some hours pass by.
And I suppose that at times I be feeling them lows, but that mo-fi soul diggers out of them holes. I kick flows like my words are hitting soccer goals, crafting a timeless sound as if the tempo is slow. We create like we're cooking pancakes, flipping over frowns with the sounds that we make. No matter the day, I keep it real straight on any palette or plate. We're perfect to the taste. Mwah. I know it's been some time since we last spoke, but something just got me thinking about the past though. A history of anime and Super Smash Bros that evolved straight into beats, rhymes, and tracks cold enough to freeze time like hourglasses and stasis. I won't be sad if I'm not mentioned rocking with your favorites. But if you're ever feeling down, take a stab at it by tuning in to our sound. Make sure to
It
blast
don't matter how I feel right then, just now. Never raise an eyebrow to the fools that's around. Going up, never down. Just take a look around, and a whole new sound is found without frown.
It's a very long road to the top. Gonna make the party hop, never flop on the drop of a dime. With these lines we refine, go and take us for a spin. We'll have you feeling all sublime.
Speaking of the past, I remember so fast those days of melody and how they made me blast like a rocket ship straight off the tip. Man, those $20 mics had a Python script. Yeah, this is where I tend to dwell when life's not swell. A quick status update is what I'm needing to tell. These days we pave roads heading right to the gold. At least that's what we suppose. Gotta stand on 10 toes and our heads up high. Leave them wondering why it is you keep on trucking through deaf ears so fly. See, we does it for the love, for those ones way above, for those still around and those flying like doves. Hey yo, we keeps it on like a Motel 6. If you ever feeling bored or in need of new flicks, give Mo-Fi a search, help you find your self-worth. Or maybe when you celebrate or your first daughter's birth.
It doesn't matter how I feel right now. Let's smile with these beats we astound the crowds with our style. Pick it up instead of down. Just take a look around. You know we bring a sound that's found without frown.
It's a very long road to the top. Gonna make our party hop. Never flop on the drop of a dime. With these rhymes we'll be fine. Go and take us for a spin. We'll have you feeling so sublime.
Yeah. If I didn't have anything to write to this, I'd usually have something off of the top that I would spit. No lyrics written down require just my wits. No joke, no gimmicks, and no skits. I don't rhyme about things that I don't do. I don't try to start a fist fights for any camera crews. That's because I am a simple individual, and at the minimal, I don't pretend to be a criminal. Would you believe me if I told you that I wrote this after a dream where I freestyled this verse in focus? And Method Man was there, corny rappers he was smoking. The diddler was free up to some villainy he chosen. Even joking, I couldn't make this up probably. I know that seems strange how a brain can just process things. The lying over beats is odd to me. Ain't no anomaly in my beliefs. My Bible has Deuteronomy.
We just chill out and let that ink spill out. My thoughts inside my head that I don't hear when I don't chill out. I guess it's just so profound. I click and search through profiles. Been known to crack a smile when I hear a sound. My style got these melodies telling me on the mic you special Murphy. I wonder if y'all heard me when I said this ain't about money. Yeah, we does it for the love. We miss the ones above. The souls we lost to woes before their voices really sung. Communities head downs, vandalizing the right sounds. The fruits of all our labels, they just take them in shakedowns. So right now, I focus on my paper and my thoughts. My baby, I will fight for fear of the light that I ain't bought. Handcrafting the magic, truly tragic. Just imagine the stories you can tell when you seize the pen and grab it, grab it.
Incredible. Phenomenal. What a run of tracks that just really swing off the second half of the album. Insane.
Yeah.
What do you got for that one, LB? What's up with Feeling Fine? It seems to be The crowd favorite in the chat right now. What do you got?
Feeling Fine. Yeah. So Feeling Fine, guys. You won't believe this. I had to save this track. I had to save this track. Murphles was not having it. I'll tell you what happened. So years ago, I went with a friend. As a matter of fact, that friend might be in the chat still. We went to the Philippines together. We went out there on a trip, and at the time, Murphles was sending me a bunch of tracks. And he would send me these tracks, and he was like rapping over like, you know, beats that he was just like finding, you know, beats that he liked or whatever. And he sent me his vocals for that track. Now the vocals that he sent me at that time are completely different than the ones he have, almost completely different than the ones he have in that track right now, you know. But I'll tell you what, I heard this track, and me and my buddy, we actually have a video where we actually took a video of us just sitting there just bopping to this track. We're like, man, this sounds good. And, you know, my homie just starts dancing to it. And, you know, we were just like, this sounds great. Like, you know, and then so later on, I'm like, hey, I'm talking to Murphles. And finally, that's when I decided, that moment was when I decided to produce an album for him, which is kind of a spoiler. Yes, there are a number of tracks that have not been released that I produced for Murphles, and that's eventually going to be released as an album. So we're going to get there.
Murph and LB have a vault of records that are just stored, waiting to be released to the public. It's insane, and the amount of work that they have put in together.
And these tracks are bangers. Like, I mean, it's just, matter of fact, we pulled tracks from that album for Modal Fidelity Volume 1 and 2. So
there's just that many. Yeah. I'm not kidding. There is an archive that could be made just on their work alone.
Oh man,
Murph was putting in double time. I don't know. I don't even know if LB could keep up sometimes. It was a waiting period.
I couldn't. As a matter of fact, I still have more lyrics from him that I could work with and put on the album. So I mean, we got plenty to work with. But I tell you what, that Murphles joint, when it drops, you guys are going to be like, whoa. I mean, this was like, there are tracks on there that, I mean, some of this sounds like some old school MF Doom. Some of this sounds like some old school like Wu-Tang. Some of it sounds like, I mean, it's just, it's phenomenal. Well, anyway, going back to Feeling Fine. So I'm like, hey, let's put Feeling Fine on Modal Fidelity 2. And he was like, nah, man. He's like, I don't know, man, you know. And he was explaining that originally the lyrics that he had were written for some friends of his who like stabbed him in the back or something. Like, these people just did him wrong. And so I was like, oh man, but I mean, you could still release the track, right? I'm like, you could still
do some careful edits, we'll rewrite a little bit, but
you know, and at that moment, I mean, at that point in time, it already had the beat that you guys just heard, the beat and the vocal sample that was also mentioned by Dom earlier, but let's see. Yeah, man, that was one of the very first, if not the first track I've heard by LB. When I heard that line, I instantly went to the names D to the A to the B-I-N. Sorry, that comment took my
classic.
Yeah.
No, just to touch on that because it does come back up later on in the album.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, status update. Yeah.
I don't think it was so much as a diss track, Dom. I think it was more just like a cathartic track of just like Murph kind of coming to terms with, the things that had kind of gone on.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed from Murph, okay, so Murph is probably the most positive individual one of the most positive individuals that I know. I mean, he even has the power to cool down on the rocks. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Murph, he's incredibly positive. I don't think we'll ever see a diss track from Murph. I just don't think he's that guy. And Murph got bars. He could do it. He roast anybody, like lyrically, but he's not that guy. He's not the diss track guy. That track wasn't really a diss track. The original was just him, trying to pick up his group of friends, make them, pretty much. You heard the track. Was about kind of encouraging them, but they ended up. I don't know, that group of friends. He didn't really get into it, and that's Murph. He's not about that. Putting fire, under anybody. So he just kind of was like, yeah, it wouldn't feel right to release that, So with that being said, I was like, okay. And I was like, On the Rocks, you want to put a 16 on it? And On the Rocks was real busy. He wasn't able to do it, and I was like, all right. So I, pulled something through, put a 16 on it. I did my own twist on the hook, and then Murph ended up writing a completely new verse for the track, and then we came up with that. And then that outro, that was a whole nother thing. I got a story about that outro.
The outro was absolutely incredible. Like I said in chat while listening to it with everybody, it clears by far anything that's out right now. I don't care. You put whoever you want up against just that outro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's going to dust it. It's just incredible. Every time that outro comes on, I'm like, this needs to be a full-fledged track in and of itself. Like, I need extended bars. Where's the director's cut? Where's the rest of it? I need more.
Yeah. Sheila McCooey, Snowberry, and Seal Upon Your Heart, and Feeling Fine, my top 3. Wow, okay, all right. Yes, man, Snowberry, and Seal Upon Your Heart. Wow. Yeah, those are deep cuts. That's like what?
It's like digging in the vault a little bit on those. Some great digging.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's good to hear. I'm glad you like those tracks. So going back to that outro, I have to tell the story, guys. I hope you're listening. This is just wild. So, I was dreaming. I was dreaming about being at like some event, and there were like all these hip hop artists around, and for whatever reason, someone wanted to hear me drop some freestyle bars, so I freestyled. And I freestyled in this dream, and I woke up like right after it. And the funny thing about it was, I was like, the very last few bars, I was like, man, I have to write that down somewhere. So that outro, in my that verse that I wrote, was actually partially the freestyle from my dream. And I mention it in the verse. I mention it, and it was kind of a funny thing, especially like the bars at the end where I'm like, "Ain't no anomaly in my beliefs. My Bible has Deuteronomy." That was the very last thing I say in the freestyle in my dream.
Incredible.
And I was just like, when I woke up, I was like, "Whew, I gotta write that down." And then, so I wrote that down, and I was like, We're gonna have to record that, and I recorded it, and then Murph went and dropped, his verse after that, and then we actually had no place to put the track. It was supposed to be like an interlude or something, and so I ended up just I actually redid the beat, and then I went ahead and placed it at the end of that track. So
phenomenal.
Yeah, that was,
and it fits perfectly too, because it's a tone shift for that song. Because, like you had talked about before, the rest of the song is the crowd favorite, obviously, going through the chat, everybody loves that one. Then right at the end of it, the beat shift, and you're like, okay, what's this? And it's a little bit more hard hitting. It's just like, hey, don't get it twisted. Like, we got some sluggers, locked and loaded too. We can come out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's
it's a great way to wrap that one up.
Yeah. All right. So we got Inner Shade Drift. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and spin a couple tracks here. We'll go through Inner Shade Drift, and then Daily News. And just a quick thing about Interstate Drift. Originally, that track was actually supposed to be one of the BGMs for the TOTE, which is the new version of the Tales of the Elements that I'm working on, that I'm developing right now. So, you know, I was supposed to use it for that, but I don't know. I decided that it fit the vibe, and we kind of all voted on it. I remember we were all kind of listening to some tracks, and then we're like, yeah, this should go on the album. And we, you know,
Like I said earlier, with the loop that was for a Special Way,
mm-hmm.
and Sleep on Greatness.
Yeah. So
Needed to be included, you know.
Yep,
Who
absolutely.
knows? Let it be an Easter egg for Tales of the Elements. You
Yeah.
know, Volume 2, revamp, version 2, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and play it.
As a matter of fact, we keep it moving. Words staying rhythmic and the traction is feeling clueless. We do this, bump it all night and we keep it funky. What you want from me? Philosophy of rhyme pumping. I'm a junkie when it comes to the beat. The words trace my lips and honey. I'm dapper dripping Philly heat. The Willie Pete, man, if you know, you know. We shake and bake 'em, the track be destined to explode. It's all that we know. Catalyst and we're home. Sword edges giving you the anatomy expo. As cargo, other rappers we be rapping around. Leave trails of slime on the palette, hard to get down. The mix now like cat chow, salty like south south. The verbal actuator, pump action like pound sound. How now the bronc out, the ha they get down. Slip the mix of disc a remix, piece of intimate. Give you all we got like reporting daily news. That we ain't Clark Kent, leaving the room to be confused. Gotta be Miranda Banger if you're hungry for the thump. Gas you up like the mash, like a bonfire stump. Give you all we got like reporting daily news. That we ain't Clark Kent, leaving the room to be confused. Gotta be Miranda Banger if you're hungry for the thump. Gas you up like the match, like a bonfire stump.
Just think, what if you could just pass it off to make the haters fade away like dust? Just think, what if you could just drive it my way for an outcome you can trust? I might not be the tallest, but my style is landing dunks. Never do I ever have to prove I'm better with the cuss word. That would be absurd. I just serve it casually. Observe as my words are making shots like I have the key. In my possession, there's no question that I'm free. Cause even if you're mad at me, I still could say you're happily forgiven for forgetting that your place is on sidelines. Keep your mind's eyes on the ball when I rhyme.
Still got much to learn, meetings never adjourn. When flows move like snakes and I'm baked and informed. Murphy stay blessed, fighting evil's retrogress. Cast aside the stress, lest you wanted a mess. Vocal cords get flexed, on the mic I stay vexed. Fighting all my battles with melodies complex. I'm up next, on the list of favorite vets. Wanna take a trip back to when hip-hop met. The 5'7" assassin, mic phone harassing. Action Jackson when Murph was steady blasting. Musical antidote, it showed me the blaze. I pressed play and was pausing on my way.
Give you all we got like reporting daily news. Said we ain't Clark Kent, leaving the room to be confused. Gotta be Miranda Banger if you're hungry for the thump. Gas you up like the match, like a bonfire stump. Give you all we got like reporting daily news. Said we ain't Clark Kent, leaving the room to be confused. Gotta be Miranda Banger if you're hungry for the thump. Gas you up like the match, like a bonfire stump. You're into it, hard to not support when it's intricate. Slip a disc, now you're back broken, got the limp a bit. How you feeling, kid? Flipped up, I think you got the juice. Your high C flavor ain't on par with my Zeus. Ramos and Remus, yeah, the brothers you be stepping to. The wrecking crew was sipping brew at 40 is the ounces loose. Off the liquor, we be demon fiends of the inkwell. Spit hell, spawn, ash slinging mighty big shells. Got the tyrant flow, the tirades I sow. Farming rocks is poppy too hot to let the mic glow. How you know it's real? The difference in vernacular. The Spidey with my instincts, but spit the ball spectacular. Write the writing got me fighting violent descriptions. Summon gigs of rebirth, that stylized diction. FIFA folk funk, giant on the mic, I smell blood. Hide the young ones, and that essence I'll draw from. Give you all we got, like reporting daily news. Said we ain't Clark Kent, leaving the room to be confused. Gotta be Miranda Banger if you're hungry for the thump. Gas you up like the match, like a bonfire stump. Give you all we got, like reporting daily news. Said we ain't Clark Kent, leaving the room to be confused. Gotta be Miranda Banger if you're hungry for the thump. Gas you up like the match, like a bonfire stump.
Yeah.
I love that song, man. I
Yeah.
love that song so much.
That one just came together, didn't it?
It did. And spoiler alert for Daily News, almost didn't make the cut for the album.
Yeah.
There were some songs that we kind of had up in the air, track list wise. You know, it was getting kind of long, and we all just kind of had to come together. And we're like, you know what? If it's long, it's long. We're gonna throw that one in there.
Yeah.
We found a home for that one, and I don't know if there was a song that I don't want to say a diss song on the album, but definitely a song that says, you know, we got bars if you want them. We could serve it up fresh, hot, and daily. It's probably Daily News.
Yeah, probably Daily News. I agree. Or Baggage Claim, right? You know.
Your Baggage Claim.
Uh-huh.
We got another song coming up here in a few. That's also another one that's definitely just kind of showboaty, showcasing. We got the skill. We got the juice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got the juice.
Got the juice. But you know what? We also got more than just juice around here. We got the grease.
Yeah.
We also got the grease. Now Murph ain't with us right now on the audio to talk about this next track coming up. So hopefully he'll be putting his thoughts on this one in the chat while it's going on. Please reference that. Ask him comments as this one's going on.
Yeah. Because even I don't know the story behind the lyrics in this track, but it's something.
I've got my own thoughts.
Yeah.
I've got my own thoughts with this one. I want to sit down and have a one-on-one Q&A, type style thing with Murph about the grease. There's a lot of concepts on this one where I thought maybe I had it, and then I listened to it again, and I'm like, shoot, man, maybe I didn't. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah. It's deep. This one's deep. Yeah.
Nah, for sure.
Just one thing I want to throw out there, guys. For some reason, I have a chat thing right here. It shows up on my feed on my end. It just stopped for whatever reason, so I had to get onto my phone and pull it up there. But yeah, now I'm starting to see everybody's messages. So if I missed your message, sorry about that. It's just some weird streaming stuff. So yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. All right, the grease. We're gonna throw Free Fall Fair right after that. How about that?
Yeah, we'll jump into that, and then we'll come back. We'll bring it all around right before we hop into 17 with Cypher 7.
Sounds good.
One foot in front of other, we was running towards a cliff that we didn't know was coming. Just really love the views that we saw with 1-2. Knock away the pain, yeah, girl, that's what we do. I used to have a crew, but now we all up in our lives. Now we gotta try to make ends and stay alive. It ain't a shuck and jive, we just needin' that reprise. All we do is just try. It's gonna take a little, guys. Well, baby, as we fly, is everything in tune? I know love strings tend to get used and abused. That's why he just amused, making musical brews for y'all dudes. Is there any question? Do y'all wonder if it's true? Murph Dog on this mic, it's just something that I bleed. Life's a long tunnel, baby girl, just take heed. Yeah, life's a long tunnel, baby girl, let's take heed. Eyes front, ain't the time to act brunt. I'm just being real blunt. Gotta get up out this funk. Real dogs don't bark, they let that work do the talk. Ain't no chain when they walk. Strut those woes like it's nothing. Murph Dog, he gets them jumping. Couple more rounds with the sounds, now it's bumping. Yeah, we tryna function, jumpstart this whole party. Got a fine little shawty, rough patch is hardly. Oh yes, I keeps it real with the steel. What I gotta do to maybe go to start a pier? Like, yo, what's the deal with these scenes? What happened to the clean? Didn't everything sheen or the dreams filled with the beams? Sun rays that just glitter and gleam. Those scenes, see, all you gotta do is keep it real, OG. Don't let them know the steps, you just tell them about the grease. Yeah. You don't tell them about the steps, you just tell them about the grease.
All right. How are you feeling?
You know, with that clarification from Murph and the Chad about what the song is actually about, or the core of the song was actually about.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense when you put the lyrics and everything together.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
For the longest time on that one, I was thinking that, you know, you don't tell somebody how hard the climb, whether that's to success or whatever it might be that they're doing in life is. I thought the Grease was alluding to, hey, just let them know what the pitfalls might, things that might slip them up along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, watch out for this. Be careful about this. But now knowing that his actual meaning of it was, nah, it's just the things that help you get through it, you know, that make it easier for you, that grease the way, slide, you know, make it easy. That makes sense too. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deep thinking. I told you. Murph's got layers, man. It's got layers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, for me, I like, and I have to get with him, you know, about the story behind the track. The meaning I, you know, that was something that I think I could already vibe with. I think I already got that from listening to the track, because but I've been listening to it way before, you know, even you had heard it. I was listening to that track, guys. I was listening to that track way before Modal Fidelity Volume 1. Because we were working on his album, and that was one of the tracks that we were supposed to put on it. But I knew he was going through something, and I kind of, I'm curious about the story behind it, because, there's some things that he mentions, about the cliff, we were running towards the cliff,
didn't know it was coming.
Yeah. The emotional bruises, things like that. He mentioned, I think, and it was definitely something that him and his girl were going through, together. But
I feel like it's a little like carryover, kind of from the song that we talked about earlier, to where it wasn't necessarily this song, but it's kind of like another cathartic type feeling track, to where maybe he touches upon that one more time, because he does mention, maybe it could be those friendships that like, oh yeah, we're racing forward, but we didn't realize that was coming to a very quick and abrupt end.
Yeah. So
cool.
Some other things mentioned in the chat. Potency feels like I'm listening to an unreleased Seba June track. That is wow. That's I feel honored to see.
Oh, you man, LB's got the heat.
I'm humbled to have someone say that.
Dom saying that Free Fall Fair could fall under drip hop. Not 100% familiar with the genre myself.
Yeah.
A lot of subgenre in hip hop, especially under the lo-fi, mo-fi category in and of itself.
Yeah.
So I'll have to look into that some more, see what that's about.
Yeah. Well, Cypher Tip. Yeah. I say we go through. We'll play a few tracks here. Cypher Tip, Shores of Sound, and then Home Space Meaning. How does that sound?
No, that sounds good. 2 vocals, go through, do this little batch with the instrumental at the end. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Little bit of something I want to mention about Shores of Sound when you guys hear it. When I first produced the track, I was inspired by a track that was on. Oh man, the album just slipped my mind. It was on the Modal Soul, not Modal Soul. It was the they did like a Modal Soul Friends or something like that. A tribute to Nujabes. And there was a track there was a track on there that was by Specifics. And the track that they did, I'm trying to think of what the name of the track was.
Shores of Life.
I think yes, that's right, Shores of Life. So I came up with Shores of Sound. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was directly inspired even before like messing around with samples and things like that. I was like, I would like to make a track that's similar to that in feel and vibe. And it's not exactly the same. It's still got the Last Benevolence, characteristics, I guess, to a track, but I feel like that's another one of those tracks that definitely has that it wears that inspiration, that Hideouts production inspiration on its sleeve. So
fun fact about that track, it almost didn't make that album. When they were putting together the tracks for all of that and they brought everybody together.
Really?
They actually, the people that were behind the production and doing it, heard the concept behind it, and they said, yeah, we really don't see how that lines up with really the tone of what we're doing here and kind of like what we're aiming for.
Wow.
So
okay.
The main lyricist, Golden Boy, actually had to sit down and like break it down to them. Like, no, when we did Under the Hood, I did that song, or we did that song, literally sitting in Nujabes' living room in his little tiny, like studio or 1-bedroom apartment that he had in Japan. Like we're sitting on the floor, we're hanging out. It's the only time he had ever met him. He's like, this is my cathartic feel for that. This is me touching back on that feeling of being there with him So I mean, it makes perfect sense for this album. How could you not think of this as a tribute to him? So
yeah,
almost didn't make it. You really had to fight for that one to be on there.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not surprised. At first I was surprised, but now hearing, the story behind that about them pushing back, you got this weird, like, and I don't mean to diss people who are into that style of, I don't know, you call it hip hop or whatever. Some call it new jazz, some call it jazz hop, whatever. But you almost had this offshoot of people who were like pretty much worshiping Nujabes, and their idea of what that sound or what Nujabes' sound was supposed to sound like, I don't know. I always felt like it was different than my own take on Nujabes' stuff. Like it's like not as jazzy, not as really musical, but more like just tugging at your heartstrings, kind of throw a piano on top of it, and like some of them don't. Sometimes they don't even have beats over some of those tracks, and it's like I don't think Nujabes was going for that,
Yeah.
And so it doesn't surprise me, because that track was very hip hop, but still very, very Hideout Productions, flair. It's kind of weird. But I think that's also why, I didn't really mesh very well with those circles anyway. Because I don't know. I just had a whole different take on it. So, but hey, let's go ahead and play the tracks. Free Fall, Cypher Tip, Shores of Sound, and then Home Space Meaning.
Let's get into it. Live on Mo-Fi Radio.
Yo, I kick it so hard that if you ran into my lyrics, you would chatter from the bars. You wouldn't go far unless you were driving no seatbelt in the car. Right through the windshield, splat hardy hard. I stick to these beats like tar, more brilliance from the heat that I pack than a star. And after we battle with pride, you'll wear them scars. Make them think you rap battle with the pack of lions in a jar. I'm so far not impressed with the rest. Yo, I'm taking all the attention like a nice pair of breasts. Chicken and turkey, what the heck you thought I meant? Do I appear to you like a pervert or a pest? Better yet, put them thoughts to rest, man, I'm worthy. Hand me the trophy over a nice dinner, serve me meatloaf or toast, I can roast like beef jerky. Or if you wanna go around in tennis, then serve me. Stop wasting time like TikTok wasting mine. Or better yet, how the government treats our money, what a crime. Tired of pushing buttons and dimes to be the victim. If cancer was the answer, I guess I'd be the sickness. And you can be my witness to the crime I just committed. Killing all these bars with belief, double conviction. Yes, I can kick it, plot twist it, I can even switch it. Like Nintendo, except I preserve what's hidden.
I lay him down so quick, the train ain't gon' quit. We gon' keep the wheels spinning till we out of our sit. You see my anecdotes, got the anecdotes about our Murphy. How I keep on moving swiftly through my life's lonely city. Couple sonnets about my phonics, the grease in my gears. I bubble about these topics, so grab a seat, cast those fears away. I'll make your mind sway, left to the right away. Pedal to the metal, ain't got time to play. But I still smash the keys, I still got my steeds. Envy, supply a beats from a benevolent beast. Always up on the scores, melodical implores. Take a Murphy mind straight to the shore. A true score, a 1-2 is all I need. 1-2 is all I bleed. If you peer into my veins, watch the words as they feed. Gotta conquer many feats, I strike my pen to the sheet. That's as blank as can be, it's just my melody and heat.
I make moves to break check crews in those areas. Sounds like kaiju on our Pacific Rim hysteria. Each bar formed looking like 5.56. Split the stitches in the cinches from vital instincts. I drop a bar and set the speakers ablaze. Leave the stage unchanged, but the air sure feels strange. Is it magic, witchcraft, hoodoo for that voodoo? Rhyme magazine you just to see the passion course through. Of course you are feeling all up in the mix. Didn't expect to hear me kick this on that LB tip. And we can battle, show enough. Leave that DJ spinning. Scores a track with that master obsolete, the scraps to be rewritten. The difference, the mix is my shelf life long. You pitter patter, prattle on to the end of your songs. Got a scapegoat, you could blame your other hits. The other flips that you rip, salty caramel bits. Other rappers will state the chance when I step up. The mic is cuffed, hot spitting like she liking it rough. What is up? How's that crowd? How's that sound go off? This ain't Coachella, but I'm telling you that merch line long. Fans be quick to write in once they know our heat. For spitting in that dictionary flow that's never faulty. I got one name, just call me on the rocks. The speakers knock, the lyrics lock, now feel this hip hop.
On the shores, find a strand, flick it up and raise a hand. You can say that it is grand, watch the music, fill the land. Feel that pulse just where you stand, we can talk about it and go over again. Where the waves rub the sand. On the shores, find a strand, flick it up and raise a hand. You can say that it is grand, watch the music, fill the land. Feel that pulse just where you stand, we can talk about it and go over again. Where the waves rub the sand. It's kinda scary what a real one would admit. As soon as that right beat hits and it's time to spit, I kicks it nice like a breeze or Sierra Mist. Been writing rhymes literally since the age of 6. I used to walk the strips, soul in my hips, trekking from street to street just to see what exists. Head to the sky, heart on my sleeve, relief from the tip of the sound that I drown from my MP3 clip. Never hummed a tune as I walked under the moon. Never knew if I would come home soon. Took my time as I walked from this alley to the next. Check my phone every step to see if I'd get a text. Who would see this roaming without a home in? The sounds at that time, good thing, cause I was growing. Even though then I wasn't ready for mic blowing. My words were so cold I left the crowds frozen. On the shores, find a strand, flick it up and raise a hand. You can say that it is grand, watch the music, fill the land. Feel that pulse just where you stand, we can talk about it and go over again. Where the waves rub the sand. On the shores, find a strand, flick it up and raise a hand. You can say that it is grand, watch the music, fill the land. Feel that pulse just where you stand, we can talk about it and go over again. Where the waves rub the sand.
Knew I'd grow but never knew where to go. Could feel the views, yeah, feel the views with a glow. Extended family woes had strong anxiety, stakes were even higher. Stronger than ballooned up states that I paint each passing second. Every mention of my features seeping deeper than the ocean. Those unknown creatures, I think you're getting what I'm saying. My focus always chasing short memories, erasing most cases. It leaves me guessing, always stressing.
And I think I know exactly how it feels, trying to find love when it seems impossible for real. Hanging out with your crew, feeling like it's only you. Like the bigger the group, the more lonelier the tune. I've been there, I felt that, the weight over the chest, searching for Miss Right, but only turning left. Thinking, man, my heart just needs relief. Another potential lover passes, now I can't breathe.
We've been on the road a long time, perfecting the mission. The depiction, pure fiction, stylized by my wishes. To share an audience, this to you so it ain't make a dime. $0, my accounts got me feeling alive. Feeling petty, wish you let me get ahead one time. If the settings unrelenting, double script these lines. Better chance of sitting idle with the gods I scribe. Penmanship a burden, climbing 1,000 steps just to rhyme. Mike Golden when you holding, got linoleum beats. Bar squeak, so discreet, you feeling cold concrete. Under your toes, crash course through the elements. Scorch the rafts when my wrath raps the tracks in accordance with beats, bars, break mic, controlling art. Systems never function without that one critical part.
shores, find a strand, flick it up and raise a hand. You can say that it is grand. Watch the music, feel the land, feel that pulse just where you stand. We can talk about it and go over again, where the waves rub the sand. On the shores, find a strand, flick it up and raise a hand. You can say that it is grand. Watch the music, feel the land, feel that pulse just where you stand. We can talk about it and go over again, where the waves rub the sand.
feels like home.
All right.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go from Cypher Tip. Everybody throwing punches on that one. Like I said in the chat, taking it back to the 12:15. You know, lunchtime, time to Cypher.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All that talk about backing around again, you know, earlier in the evening. Gonna bring that one back around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you were, you know, in school and at class a little earlier than most other people, you know, you caught those early morning ciphers.
Yeah.
You know, those are also some really good ones. Those 6:45s, 7:15s. You know, sneaking it in.
Yeah.
Getting yelled at by the A-hour teachers because we were being disruptive in the hallways.
Yeah.
But I was saying in the chat, you know, shout out to all the B-boys and the B-girls out there. There's a couple of tracks on this album that made me just kind of reflect back,
Yeah.
you know, early on, you know, in our MCing, you know, to the Hip Hop Culture Club and how we had that little blip of history.
Mm-hmm.
Had never been done before. You know, we pioneered that.
Yeah.
You know, some of the members that were in that, like Big Joe.
Yep.
You know, we had Kiki. You know, the resident B-boy.
Yep.
You know, shout out to him wherever he ended up because, you know, I can't find him.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Not for a lack of trying.
I don't know.
I wanted to see where he ended up in life. You know, if he ever kept going with it.
Yeah.
But listening to Home Space Meaning though, and then reading through some of the chat talking about, you know, another classic throwback, an LB track, you know, getting another shine. It made me think of way back in the day. I'm talking after I left Arizona and went back east to graduate high school, when I took I want to say it was the Elamana. I took the CD that I had.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were experimenting and playing around with playing music in between classes. And I was like, yo, you guys got to play this. This whole CD is great. I've scrubbed it front to back. There's no bad lyrics on it. Everything on it's great. Super fun. It'll be great. The songs are perfectly cut for in between classes. It's awesome.
Huh.
And everybody was like giving great feedback. They're like listening in the halls. Yo, what is this? This is great. Especially with the man, what was it? The microphone swordplay type one? What did we call that one? Agito, I think is what it was called back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people were like all over that one. They're like, "Oh, this is so cool." And then just made me remember when the CD had to get pulled because of like one lyric back in the day where LB was before he became completely radio friendly.
Yeah, it's funny because that you mentioned that, because I'm thinking to myself as you're talking about it, I'm like, I don't remember that album being completely clean, you know.
It wasn't. And that was my mess up. I oversold it a little bit.
Oh man, yeah.
It was funny though because I went back to get it was the same day when that song came on, and I'm just like, no, not that one. And I'm running, I'm beelining trying to get to this lady.
Oh man,
that was in charge of, and it pretty much got like DJ edit scratch like ripped off of the airwaves between class, and I went back to her classroom to get the CD from her, and the look she gave me, man. We'll never forget it. It was just like the most stank look. Like, do you know what happened? Do you know how many phone calls I had to take?
Oh wow.
Yeah, man, she got chewed over for that one. It was so
wow. Great. Oh man. Well, yeah, I didn't have any experiences like that, man.
No, because I remember that one playing because we ran that one through Westwood too, and we had that one playing in the halls there. I remember.
Elamana came after Westwood. Yep.
Had you already left too? Maybe I'm thinking of
yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of something different. I could have swore we had played that one for the local school too.
No, we played some beats and stuff that I was making on the PSP with Traxpad,
Shout out to Trackspad.
Yeah,
Shout out.
that was
The real ones know.
Yeah, humble beginnings.
Great beginning. I wish we would have caught it when it was in its heyday. We could have got all the extra beat packs. You know, the Inspector Gadget beat pack, which I never knew about until like way later on, and all these other collabs that they did.
You know,
Trackspad was a movement.
It was, moving from that to FL Studio was jarring. It was jarring.
Well, I know you tried really hard to bring a lot of those sound packs over.
Yeah.
Like I remember you painstakingly trying to work with the sounds from there, bringing them over as like their own like tracks, so you could cut it, chop it up, and try to make it work.
Yeah.
Which you did.
Yeah.
A lot of early LB stuff, especially with like Leaves of Gold, and if you go way, way back to the early LB projects, it has a lot of Trackspad sounds on there still.
Yeah. So the album, The Former Things, there's at least 2 or 3 of those tracks, maybe even 4 or 5 of those tracks that contain samples from that old stuff. Yeah.
That's crazy, and nobody would know that unless you tuned in live.
Oh yeah.
Here to the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're just so crazy back in the day, and you just knew about Trackspad.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of big producers that chipped in for that too. Like I'm surprised it didn't go further. There should have been a Trackspad too. That should have been taken to consoles. That could have been on PS2, PS3. Like, they could have done so much with that, man.
Yeah.
Let it fall.
Yeah. Such a weird, point in time. I mean, it was a cool era, but it was just
it was for sure.
It just hits different when you think about it, Even Monster Hunter hit different at that time, right? It was just a different vibe back then,
It was, and Murph warned me about it. I'm not sure if he's still around in chat, but over the last few months, I had like really tried to get into, trying to play some of those older Monster Hunter titles. Just to kind of like relive that moment of life. But I never played Monster Hunter on PS2. My first introduction was PSP.
Yeah.
So obviously the controls for that were different.
Yeah.
But playing it with PS2 control was wild.
Yeah.
Like you're attacking with the joystick, and I'm like, nah,
I watched
this ain't it.
I watched a video on that, and I was like, this is the stuff of evil here. Like, we don't.
Nah, that was bad, man. Like that was tough.
Yeah.
And I thought because I used to play Call of Duty on like the Wii, and I thought that was bad. Like messing around with that. Nah, Monster Hunter with a swinging with the joystick was even worse.
Yeah.
Not a highlight moment for the series. Glad they moved forward.
Right. Yeah.
But
anyway.
Speaking of moving forward to bigger and better things.
Yeah. So we got
last 3 tracks.
Yeah, the last 3 tracks. There's something I do want to mention about track 20.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna wait until everyone hears track 20. So probably at the end of this stream, I'll reveal production secret. So
there you go. There's your little cliffhanger. There's your little bite for or soundbite content later on. Some short form content.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to the end to find out.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And then one thing I want to throw out there about track 21. It'll be okay. This track is about life. It's about appreciating life. In my verse, I just want to mention this to the chat so everybody knows. So in my verse, I wrote that verse talking first in the first half of the verse. I talk about actually one of the artists that was on the track Status Update. Jay Wu. Jay Wu was actually going through chemotherapy while we recorded that track. So he's the last artist. So when you go back and you listen to Status Update, the last artist on that track, he was going through chemo at the time, and we recorded that track in in the garage of one of our friends. It was a b-boy at the time. But this and the reason why I mentioned him in the first track, the first half of my verse, is because of the second half of the verse, which I then talk about another artist who just happened to be on Status Update as well. and that was 3P. And unfortunately, 3P a couple years ago, I think it was now, committed suicide. And we don't have to go into all the details, but he committed suicide, and so in that track, what I did was I kind of I talked about the difference between how Jay Wu, you know, he was fighting for his life. He was appreciating life. He saw life from a different perspective, while with 3P was, you know, taking his life away, you know. And so I kind of, you know, wish I was able to have the chance to basically put the gun down, say, hey, like, you know, maybe there's more to this. Maybe, you know, whatever you're going through, you know, can be worked out. And so, but yeah, anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, because I feel like that was kind of a big story for that track. But yeah, we'll you know, anything else you want to throw in there?
Yeah, where the machine ends,
Yeah.
you know, it's the continuation of track earlier on in the album, where the man begins.
Yeah.
So you get to see the full workout, all the layers peeled back. You know, the machine is gone. You know, this is the end of the coding here, so to speak. On the track, It'll Be Okay. Somebody had mentioned earlier in the chat, I believe it was Dom, may have said, you know, therapeutic with some of the way verses earlier on have been. This is very much that. This is, in and of itself, a self-therapy, self-healing type of a track, where we just take that time to get that off of our chest, whatever it may be. I took a different stance on it in my verse. I used it as more of a, you know, what were the things that I used as resources to get through my struggles and hard parts of life, whereas LB and Murph discussed up forward and up front with those things that, you know, they needed that healing for or from, you know, things that they need to kind of get through and over, however you want to look at it. And then as far as it goes with Chain of Memories, I mean, we might as well talk about that one right now too, just real quick. Chain of Memories is just because we all grew up within Kingdom Hearts as some way, form, or shape, a point of our life, and we felt like Chain of Memories was Chain of Memories was just my favorite game growing up. I loved it. It was so different.
Yeah.
And we all kind of connected on it in different ways, and that was kind of like where the vibe and the feel of that one kind of came from. And, you know, rearranging things and changing stories, just kind of bringing all the pieces back together, I guess, is really kind of, if I could sum it up right. And correct me if, you know, I'm off base on that one. But
No, that's about right.
we just kind of wanted to take that point of the album to kind of wrap it all up, bring all those stories together, and there you go. A nice 5-minute outro, you know, to the album, and really just kind of sending it off.
Yep, absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and check it out. And Where the Machine Ends on MoFi Collective Radio.
Live on MoFi Radio. Thanks for tuning in.
Lost inside my mind are the answers that I know. Can't find myself, the truest self, the one that always grows. Looking for the doorway to go and find my own. The kid in me is giggling, can't seem to say no. Lately's been the jail that be taking up my time. It used to be the Henny Sprite mixed with the lemon rind. A late night drinking had me teetering on the edge. The bed was just retreat so I could come back and do it again. I'm running from my problems, drinking them all away. The man inside just wants to hide in a less than healthy way. My problems ain't that great, they just first world editions. Not limited to me, I'm not special, but I'm always gifted. I put it all together, I'm trying to compile a list of the newest hits, the latest fits, to how I'm gonna end this. I'm trying to change my habits, bring about the basics. I struggle with depression on an almost daily basis. And feeling like a bullet wouldn't even solve my issues. Just stockpile a new batch to coincide with those two. Man, I hate the the way I am. I'm just trying to find a way up out the hole I'm sitting in again. Lost inside my mind are the answers that I know. Can't find myself, the truest self, the one that always grows. I'm looking for the doorway to go and find my own. The kid in me is giggling, can't seem to say no. Lost inside my mind are the answers that I know. Can't find myself, the truest self, the one that always grows. Looking for the doorway to go and find my own. The kid in me is giggling, can't seem to say no. I get that I ain't perfect, got a lot of kinks to work out. Smoke hats on the barbecue, what seems to be my workaround. Try to find some purpose, so I went and shifted gears. Self-destruction of myself the last 5 years. And man, I gotta say, it was a mighty task. The man, the iron mask, gotta unveil myself fast. My health was in a decline, the side effects were oh my. I'm running out of breath, just trying to kick a few lines. Do it major for the one time, it's on the shoreline. On the rocks, I'm in this bitch, I'm chopping it up real fine. Hitting switches like do-has, maybe too much. Roll the crits away, the berries of my life were too locked. Built the keys to my success so I could spread the love. Unlock the answers, skipping stones, yes, I'm on the run. Hidden were the reasons that I could ever know. I'm sitting on the precipice, just wanna go home. Lost inside my mind are the answers that I know. Can't find myself, the truest self, the one that always grows. Looking for the doorway to go and find my own. The kid in me is giggling, can't seem to say no. Lost inside my mind are the answers that I know. Can't find myself, the truest self, the one that always grows. Looking for the doorway to go and find my own. The kid in me is giggling, can't seem to say no. We go to sleep stressed, wake up stressed, it's all the same. We contemplate where to point fingers for shoulders to levy blame. Our cloud brings darkness, air is feeling heavy. We try to escape, it feels a million times harder than forgetting. So we look for options, overlook that obvious. The interests of those around us, the love that we exist. It's dark and hell is hot, son, trust, I know this. I remained focused when the edge was at its closest. We've had sad days and they grip on our life. We just ain't feeling that tight, the vibe ain't hitting us right. So we pick up that pen, we best to put our feelings down. Start that first, middle, and ending words begin to rhyme around. We add some music to the back, we kept our rockapellas. Interstellar souls battle, we prosper through dilemmas. Victory to believe, and we'll record tracks. MoFi press play, it's therapy on wax. On the rocks, it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. Murph Dog saying, it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. Last Benevolent saying, it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. MoFi saying, it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay.
But you know, honestly, I don't really understand it. How people could live life, then wanna take it for granted. I remember having this friend dealing with cancer. Only 19, fighting, but life was his answer. He penned bars in Korean to inspire dancers. Death's eventuality became life's enhancer. Lying in bed, observing the sunset, the trees and the whistling coming from a bird's nest. Part of me wishes that I could go back to then, set them verses down on status update once again. Warn my friends so then he'd avoid this ending. Just staring into the void the barrel would send him. If I had the chance then, that moment I would stand in. Lower down the gun, tell them we all deserve chances. Yes, sleep might be the cousin of death, but that doesn't mean death puts our problems to rest. 3P, it is a shame, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay, it'll be okay. On the rocks, what you say? It'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. Murph Dog, he don't play. It'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. MoFi hey, it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be okay.
I think I've taken the time, I took the steps to get by. I can watch the mountain mountains form, but be a comfortable guy. Because it's in due rhyme, I always tend to reside. The shoe fit I wore, it was like a crime to get mine. Every nerve inside the brain felt like needles in the rain. With a drip, then a drop of the ink, release the pain. No word ever in vain, I just stay true to my game. Money buys a million things, but cold hearts gon' sing. Yeah, I've been to bottom and back, all it took was the track. I was searching in the stars when depression was flat. Bugging out on Mars, was unaware of the facts. All those anxious attacks, it really had me at bat with every aspect of life. But now I'm past those stripes, finally made the changes that would make me bright. So now she's finally on her way. Wait for the days that we play and all those unknown pains. We gonna make it, okay? Princess, don't you worry, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. LB on the rocks, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Birth dog signing off, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. More fire bearing some change, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Alright?
That's it, man.
All right, with all that hard work just gone now, you know, we got to start working on the next one, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. No, what I saw some of the comments. I just kind of wanted to speak to that on Chain of Memories. With my with outros to albums before we wrap up here. For me, I always feel like an album release is a body of work. Like for me, that's when I would listen to albums, like my favorite artists. I had a problem taking them out of the albums, taking the tracks out of the albums and saying, okay, so this is a track here, this is a song here, that's a song, and seeing them by themselves. I always saw them as a body of work, Midnight Marauders is a good example of that, where it's just like,
yeah,
you can listen through it from the beginning to the end, and that was it. It was almost like a whole show that's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And or a movie or something like that, whenever I'm producing something, I put the tracks together, I think of that. How does the story begin? Where's the climax? Where's the down, downhill, and then, how does it end? And so it's like, that's why, I don't know, for the outros, I always like to try to end it in a way that feels defining, that just kind of the way that we begin the albums too. But
yeah, just like with what some of the people in chat were saying, or Proto mentioned that it reminds them of Yesteryear Echoes, just like part 2, like a sequel to that. That's exactly the vibe that we go for on these albums. LB was just talking about. We start off with an intro instrumental because we kind of want to warm you up too, before we just jump straight into it. A lot of albums don't have that, especially these days.
Yeah, yeah.
Most albums just start off with, boom, you're jumping right into it, vocals, where it's like, all right, cool. A lot of people may not be familiar with our music. They may not know our sound.
Yeah.
All right, so let's, I don't want to say ease them into it, but let's give them an easy way to go into the album. Okay, cool. This is kind of like what their sound is. All right, awesome. Then we'll hit you with the verses. They could be like, okay, cool. Yeah, I can dig this. I can digest this.
Yeah.
But I think it's great what you said about Midnight Marauders.
Mm-hmm.
Because did that album have great singles? Of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But especially when it comes to the robotic voice that they throw over that, with some of the intros and some of the outros that the Tribe was really known for. It's like you really kind of need to piece all of those things together. It's like, well, what is a Midnight Marauder? What is that?
Yeah.
Somebody picking up that vinyl, they may have had no idea or listening to that. Well, if you listen to all of the little, tidbits and the excerpts that they throw in over the album, it all keys in. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily do that with ours. We don't have the little fun little Easter egg things in there like that, but we do it in our own way.
Yeah.
When it's going through the beats and going the different tones and the shifts with the hidden instrumentals that we throw in there at the end that are always a nice little, I say palate cleanser, but I don't mean that as a bad thing, but it just kind of gets you ready for the next wave of whether it's a vocal track or an instrumental.
Yeah.
It just kind of sets you up.
Yeah. Yeah, so like when we did the whole release thing where we were like trickling the releases of each track, it kind of tickled that a little bit in a weird way, because I was like, that line of thought, because I see it as a body of work. I don't see the tracks as being, they have their own individuality, and especially years to come, later on you're gonna start thinking, okay, so this could go on this playlist and this can go on that playlist. But I feel like when the album comes out, the album comes out as a whole.
Yep.
And it's like, so when we were doing that, the trickling releases, I remember someone had mentioned it on Twitter. They're like, hey, why did you even do that? And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, like, I know it's not my thing. I don't usually do that. That's not really, it's actually not characteristic of, how I...
Of a Last Benevolence release, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we kind of had to own up to it at that point. Like, yeah, man, we're just trying to play the system.
Yeah.
See if it works.
See if it works, yeah. So that's why I asked. I was like, hey, did that work for you guys? Is that something you guys want to see? You can tell us in the chat, or whatever, express it anywhere, Discord, whatever. But a couple of things I wanted to mention, just kind of about the secrets behind, the way
where the machine ends, and it's kind of some of the production thoughts.
Yeah. So, on the Rocks, when you were writing for those tracks, did you ever finish what you were writing?
I never did. Honestly, no. When I pitched the original concept for those two songs to LB,
yeah,
I sat down with the beats and I tried for. I couldn't even tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It took up a better part of my day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I sat down, earbuds in, headphones on, just trying to just lock in for everything that I wanted to say on those songs. I couldn't find the right words of putting it into those songs. So LB actually asked me a funny question.
Yeah.
Of, well, do you have anything kind of already recorded that may not see the light of day?
Mm-hmm.
That might work. And there were some things that, if you go on to my SoundCloud, or there have maybe even been some things that we took from that haven't ever made it out. And lo and behold, they worked out perfectly for the bridge that those songs needed to, really actually get out there. And they conveyed everything that needed to be said in those thoughts, those concepts. Undertone, somewhere in my subconscious, maybe that's where those songs came from.
Yeah. Yeah, and I felt like it was perfect. I felt like it came together perfect, because I knew what you were trying to say in these tracks. It was weird. It was like we kind of we when you described it, I was like, and I guess we knew each other enough for me to be able to say, okay, yeah, I think I know what he's trying to do here. And so when I asked him, basically, for everybody in the chat, I'm just gonna lay this down, just neatly, easy, right? Basically, I took old vocals and I time stretched them, I mixed them like crazy, and I used those old vocals from like tracks from yesteryear, basically to put together Where the Man Begins and Where the Machine Ends, and still keep those concepts intact.
Now, spoiler alert for everybody out there that might have a favorite artist that isn't Last Benevolence, On the Rocks, or Merfolk Music. Your favorite artist probably does that all the time too. Probably.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that dig in the vaults.
Mm-hmm.
I could name drop quite a few, to where if I said it and be like, yeah, this song that they did is probably from this album that got put on the cutting room floor, and then just came back to it later on and read.
Oh, absolutely.
You can start to pick up and realize, yeah, that verse does sound different than the rest of the album, doesn't it? I never really thought about it. Oh, it really does sound like that album, though.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. You would never know it.
Oh, yeah.
Industry secret.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically it. And it came together so flawlessly. I remember listening back, especially Where the Man Begins, where you're just telling your story, and you talk about, all your different names. And it's funny because the names that you discuss almost like as if they were other personas, like other people.
Yep.
Like MC Timmy T, he was the youngest to pass. And I'm like, and as I'm listening, I'm like, this is perfect.
Had the swagger of a Greyhound bus.
Yeah, running laps in class. Yeah.
You're like, when you think of a Greyhound bus, you're like, ain't the most beautiful thing in the world. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And it just came together, and I'm very proud of those tracks, and not so much from, the production. I'm happy with the production, obviously, but I mean, what we were able to create using, your stuff that you had already done, to me, it was amazing. And Man, I'm telling you, I'm so proud of those tracks. I tell you what, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of those tracks. What you did lyrically, what you've done up to this point, it's just phenomenal. So it's like, yeah, especially in Where the Machine Ends, going to that. It's funny because you have a little bit of a side arc, character arc during this album, where like at the beginning, Where the Man Begins. Again, you mentioned it. You're just you're just macking on the beat. You're like,
Yeah, we're real animated, I own this, it's mine.
Yeah. And then after that, halfway through A Less Lonely City, actually exactly halfway through A Less Lonely City, where you start off that way and you kind of ease into that darker, behind the scenes part of yourself, and you peel a couple layers there, and then you just rip off the Band-Aid in Where the Machine Ends, and that's where it goes like right to the core of the behind the scenes on the rocks. And so it's great. I'm telling you, I'm such I fan over that. Like I totally nerd out over that like all the time.
I appreciate it.
Every time I hear that. Yeah,
Dom in the chat just said, by the way, seems to have a different persona from Impermanence, in my opinion, on tracks. And I appreciate that. That was one thing that I will honestly admit to very hard when it came back to moving back into the lo-fi, or what we call our mo-fi sound, was, am I going to fall back into my Impermanence persona when it comes to rewriting, to this type of genre of music? Because On the Rocks had originally moved out of that realm, out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And was really pursuing just a different sound in general. But with working with, LB, and then with the added help from Murph, and just getting over those original like jitters and hurdles, things that I kind of struggled with, I really was able to keep that, that clear distinction. If you go back and listen to some earlier songs that are Impermanence, especially if it's Save the World, Acts 2, I believe, is a specific album. You go back to Colored Cups, even Tales of the Elements, that album in and of itself too, with my features. You can tell just a very different tone. Like, those aren't On the Rocks. That's Impermanence through and through. The way I deliver those vocals, my wife has told me repeatedly. I'll show her some of the old songs, and she's like, "That's you? What? Like, it's crazy. Like, it doesn't sound like you. Nothing about that is like you. But like, knowing it's you, I can put you there now."
Yeah.
But it's pretty funny. But yeah, no, Dom, I appreciate that, and LB, I appreciate that too. Ain't easy pulling back layers of yourself and just kind of leaving yourself just raw for people to digest, however it is that they take that. And that's why in one of the earlier songs I say, "Hey, look, I make this music for me. If you vibe, cool, because it's gonna hit different." I struggle with that all the time. I've just recently, as of the other day, I stepped away from, monitoring my social media as far as music goes, outside of, the talk, just because of all the other content and stuff that's on there. But I had to step away and take a step back from that, just because part of that raw understanding of myself was realizing when that online presence becomes toxic. Especially to me, I'm very sensitive to it. Yeah. And when I'm not getting feedback or that response that I want for us as a whole, it's hard, and I take that very personal. So to have all these great comments coming in from everybody in the chat, and for you to say the things that you have, regardless of our relationship in and out of music, it means a lot, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Everybody who came through. I mean, I think this is the largest number of listeners, viewers, for a live stream that I've ever had. I think. I mean, I remember we did the TOTE live stream for the whole day, and I mean that was pretty good, and that we had a good number for that, but
Yeah.
I have to say, I really appreciate everybody coming through, especially for the sake of my boy here on the rocks. And I say that because on the rocks, like, I know you were going through some stuff, and I remember, I actually got really irritated with you. I tell you what, I got irritated with you last week because I was like, man, I was like, yeah, because you were kind of like in that mood, and I knew where it was coming from, and you're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to show up, and it's like, sometimes you gotta just do it for those who appreciate it. Do it for yourself,
Yeah.
and forget about those clowns, man. I don't care. Like the guys, like you mentioned like Apathy in one of the tracks. I remember Apathy like dissing our track. By the way, everyone, the artist Apathy dissed us like on some live stream or something. And
to be fair, let me clarify. He loved LB's beat. He loved the beat. He's like, yo, the beat, dope. The mixing, go back.
yeah. He didn't like the mixing. He didn't like
it. Was an early cut. Oh man, what was it?
It was an early cut. It was actually rough. It wasn't even.
Yeah.
I don't even think I hadn't fully mixed that track.
We hadn't compressed it. We hadn't done a lot with it. But that was kind of like the point. It was just like, hey, I want you to check out this early version of it.
Yeah.
But this dude's in a full blown like his own professional studio. He's not listening on regular old headphones. He's not bumping it out of his phone or in his car. He's got full blown speakers and mix boards and everything going.
Yeah.
He heard it way different than we did.
Oh yeah.
He laid into me on it for sure.
Yeah.
Fun fact: he's actually blocked me on Instagram. I don't know why, but cool guy. Whatever.
Hey man.
But no, I do touch on that where I say that I took too much, or I leaned too far into Apathy's workshop. I studied Aesop Rock too much. I believe I even mentioned Doom in that one.
Yeah.
In that particular line of bars, where I say I really like attended like his classes. And there was a whole, like when I was getting back into making music, just as a little side piece for everybody else, there was a whole part where Murph and LB were like listening to some of the stuff I was making, and they were like, cool, but maybe less this person and more you. Because you could clearly tell, like, okay, I was definitely really in a pocket of my listening experience of Aesop Rock, where he's real lyrical, spherical, miracle, tossing out prodigious words and making things sound awesome with his 3,000 times more expansive vocabulary than every other rapper in the world. And I was like, well, I could do that. I could do that. And then you have the conspiratorial, deeper, darker bars of, Apathy, and I've leaned into that a lot. And then you got just MF Doom for everything and anything that he is, was, and will forever encompass. And I've always tried to lean into that. But at the end of the day, on this album, you get on the rocks. It's a little bit of all of that, but it's a whole lot of me, and I hope everybody can appreciate it at the end of the day.
I know.
Whether I'm on a favorite track of yours or not, hey, I get it.
Hey, you do your thing, man. You do your thing for sure. And yeah, man. Being on the rocks, being yourself, man, that is, I'm telling you, that's one of my favorite artists for sure. So
I put a big burden on myself just as a person and more so as an artist to show up, show out, and make sure everybody has a good time. So it can be tiring. It can be exhausting. It's a lot to do. So no, I do appreciate it. The positive feedback from everybody. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about it. I guess we should probably wrap it up. We're kind of over time a little bit, but
our one hour album that We always take an extra 2 hours to talk about.
Yeah. That's all right. That's okay. We had a good time. I think everybody stuck with us, man.
Yeah.
You guys,
I know
you guys are
we
great.
lost Murph about halfway through on the audio,
Mhm.
but I'm glad he was able to stick around.
Yeah.
Chime in the chat.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dom sticking through.
Yeah.
Proto, I knew you were hanging out with us while you're at work, doing your thing.
Potency.
Matt, Potency came through.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm glad you were here.
Yeah. Matt Snyder, thank you for coming through. And also, I wanted to mention, you mentioned it was your favorite of the summer so far, and that means a lot. That means a lot to us. So, thank you for that.
For sure.
Yeah, Phil.
Yeah, Phil, Jesse.
Phil.
Who else did we have came through, hung out for a hot minute?
Yep, Jesse. Phil, I know you've been going through some stuff, man. Hang in there. It'll be okay as the track goes. Keep in touch. And you guys, I'll tell you what. If you guys enjoyed the album, please tell people. Just word of mouth seems to do so much more than any post I can put out there or any. I paid a guy $100 a few days ago to go and post our album on 30 different blogs. And I think like one blog got some views or something. I don't know. I haven't looked at it because, I don't want to go crazy and psycho. So, but you know what I'm talking about on the rocks. I don't want to.
That's why I stepped away from my social media.
Yeah, exactly. And I know how it is. I don't get too wrapped up into it like I used to, but I mean, it goes much more further. Your word of mouth goes way further than any dollar that I could put behind the project, and I'll probably never earn that $100 back. Maybe I will. I don't know if the project blows up somehow. I don't know, but. Mike D,
Appreciate that, Michael. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming through, man. Always. I know we had Sheila was on here earlier and showing showing us some of her favorites and sharing some of her favorites, and thank you for that and tuning in. We really appreciate you guys. Like it was mentioned before earlier on in the album, as a matter of fact, you guys are that vital, that critical part. The listeners, the critical part. So, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
Little fourth wall break, just so the listener knows. I was like, hey, we see you. We recognize that without y'all tuning in, really wouldn't be much of a reason for us to be here. So, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, any closing thoughts? We just wrap it up.
Let's just wrap it up. This has been MoFi Radio. Live Q&A listen for Modal Fidelity Volume 2. I'm on the rocks.
This is Last Benevolence. Oh, one last
Murph
thing,
Dog.
I guess. Murph Dog. One last thing. I'll put a link to the album in the chat, and then probably in the description later on, for those who haven't gotten a chance to find it anywhere. I'll tell you what. You know what? Let me do that real fast. How about I do that real fast before we forget?
We'll get those links going while he's doing that. Whether you're listening on the green app, the red app, the Apple app, whatever it is that you're on, we're probably there too. Shoot, I've seen our album come up in some weird places. We are all over distributed, so you can listen whether you're on our side of the world, on the far other side, like Sheila is. You're down to listen. Modal Fidelity, Volume 1 and Volume 2. We're there. Get the whole thing.
Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. Man, I don't even know if this is gonna show up on that. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to pull
This was a MoFi Radio production. That's right, Proto. That's right.
Yep.
Appreciate it, Potency. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dom. Thanks, Jesse. Thank Mike D. Thank you, everybody. Murph has pieced and signed out, but I'm on the rocks. That's Last Benevolence. and he's Murph Dog.
Yep. All right.
That's it. That's stream, yo.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you guys. You guys have a good night or good morning, good day for some of us.
Depending on where you're at.
Yeah, depending on where you
Later.
are. Yep. All right. Peace.